I would rather have an old car than a new car.
New cars are just a rolling computer. You got to be a whole IT major to be.
No, I just mean even just new bolt-on parts. Like you think if you spend a bunch of money, shit will work, and it doesn't sometimes, and it sucks. It's not just us, right, with the bad luck. This year in drifting has been so bad for so many people.
Actually, weird question.
Yeah.
Do you like the smell of gas?
Who doesn't?
Renegade, all of their gas has like a fruity scent to it.
I can smell it from here. It smells like vape juice.
Literally, yeah.
This is vape juice.
I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube, presented by Enjuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we've got quite a special one. If you are ever dabbled in YouTube, he is definitely one of the OGs. So if you want to kind of give an introduction on who you are.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Caleb Quanbeck, and we're here in Kentucky doing a podcast. Thank you for coming.
Right. Absolutely. Been trying to do this one for a while now, actually.
Yeah, he flaked on me once.
I did. I had some work to do. I apologize. But we're here now. I made the trip out instead of him making the trip. So
that was the stipulation.
I was like, I'm not going to make you do that again.
I was going to drive to him in Tennessee. What is it, 3 hours, 4 hours?
It ended up being about 4 hours.
4 hours. I was ready. And the day before, he's like, bro, I can't do it. He was like, I'm too busy. Yeah. I said, all right, we'll do it again, or we'll do it another day. But you got to come to Kentucky. And he did it. We're here. We're doing it.
I think it works out better. Got the car in the background and everything too. So, yeah. But of course, before we get into the podcast, look below the video. Make sure that subscribe button is not still red. If it is, go ahead and click that. And while you're at it, hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. And I did want to announce that the next event I will be at is the Immersion Motorsports is the company. I don't know the name of the event. I can't remember. He reached out and asked me to come out, so I will be out there in Texas for their summer event in June. That should be on June 29th. So, yeah, catch me out there. The next one after that will be Drift Mansion.
Scott, let me come drive.
Yeah. You definitely should.
Scott, you should definitely let me come drive.
Scott's watching like,
Scott will watch. Fuck. I'm confident that Scott will watch us, and he's going to go, wow.
Oh, yeah, he watches.
We'd love to have you, Caleb. Please come to the Drift Mansion and drift with us.
Well, there you go, Scott. Now you got to reach out. But, of course, like every other podcast, all the parts and stuff that we probably will mention will always, be on Enjuku. So if you are looking for any type of parts or anything for your car, go ahead and shop there. Link is always in the description. But one thing I did mention in the last podcast, Wiring Specialties has offered a 10% off code to you guys for the next 3 months. So that does end in July. So if you are looking at getting a harness or anything like that, I would jump on it as quick as possible. But that's really all I got for the intro. So do you want to kind of give a little deeper introduction on you?
No, I just don't know how you do that every time. You've got it nailed.
Really?
It sounded I watched the podcast. I'm a regular viewer, listener, and it's the same.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought about podcasting, and I watch people do it now, and I'm like, it's just not for me.
I've contemplated doing like the whole, like the Lex Friedman. Do you ever know that?
Yeah.
So his podcast starts off with him just behind, like in a room by himself, giving the introduction and doing all that.
Yeah.
And then just rolling right into the podcast. I thought about doing that, but it's like you lose the rawness of it, I guess. Almost.
Yeah, and it really shows, because they're all a little bit different, right? Like every intro's a tad different because stuff's happening, new events, new partners. It's cool to see companies supporting this podcast and the backing a drifting-based media outlet that lets you guys get a deeper look at some of your favorite, pro drivers, grassroots drivers, and stuff. So,
yeah,
Enjuku's the. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Enjuku's the shit.
Yeah,
big fan.
Oh,
super stoked.
Dude,
to see
I swear to God,
involved.
every time I get fucking I understand. Like it's they're helping me, so like they're gonna make sure I'm taken care of. But even before that, bro, the shipping is like 2 to 3 days, and it's there at your house. But it's because I'm in Tennessee, they're in Florida. It's not very far.
Yeah. If you live in California, you might not be saying the same thing.
So.
I'm a huge Ken is the owner of Enjuku and a great man who's helped me out through some difficult times when I was drifting earlier in my life. And Andrew, ISR Enjuku,
Oh yeah, we got some conversations to talk on that because where I first learned him was his old Z, and like it had the full ISR catalog from
We'll get there.
Shit. Yeah, we're getting there. But actually, weird question.
Yeah.
Do you like the smell of gas?
Who doesn't? It's like paint, right?
It really is.
Do you like the smell of paint?
Yeah, I actually used to do like construction work and stuff too. So.
Paint.
No, okay. No. I didn't go that far. Listen.
Yeah, paint, gas. It's just that thing. It's just, especially, paint and gas, all gas, ethanol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ethanol's even better, especially when you get into like Ignite.
Yeah,
all the crazy gases. But like, even growing up, smelling the gas at the gas station, it was always a weird thing for me. I enjoy the smell of gas, but. Actually, Renegade, all of their gas has like a fruity scent to it. I don't know if you've ever like smelt it at the track. They're more in the drag scene, so like if you go to drag racing events, all that stuff, you'll definitely see Renegade a lot more. But it's honestly kind of dangerous, truthfully, because my 93 is like Kool-Aid red. Like
the actual color of
like
it?
This red, Kool-Aid fucking red. It's dyed, because you know they put dye in all of the gases and stuff. And then on top of that, they have the scent boosters as well. So like,
looks like a bottle of vape juice.
Crack it open and smell it. It's very fucking strong in the bottle, so beware. But
like smelling salts.
Yeah,
I can smell it from here. It smells like vape juice.
Literally, yeah.
This is vape juice.
So do you see how extremely dangerous it could be? For one, it's Kool-Aid red. The 93 is. Yeah. The E85 is like blue, Kool-Aid blue. Really? And then on top of that, it smells all fucking fruity and shit.
Let me smell it one more time.
But yeah, they got oils and stuff too. But it's just, it's insane to me that
Kentucky-based brand.
They spend their literally here in Kentucky.
I don't run Renegade, but I live in Kentucky, and Renegade is located in Kentucky. That's cool. Maybe I'll try some out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, I'm using a Speedway Pump E85. Ooh. Consistent. Ooh. What's wrong? I got a flex fuel sensor. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
You can get you some real race gas, dog.
We'll see. Renegade, holler at me.
Yeah, he's super local. There you go. But yeah, sorry. That was just a side tangent.
No, I didn't know they made oil.
I was thinking about that on the way up here, and on top of them coming on board and everything, it just fits perfectly. But what were you about to say?
Nothing. I just think it's cool that one of your new partners is from Kentucky and we're in Kentucky. Because nothing's really from Kentucky. It's Kentucky Derby. I had
no clue.
Kentucky Derby today.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what my uncle.
Oh, that's what he was just talking about.
Yeah, my uncle's inside drinking. He's like, it's okay, it's Derby.
He's like, it's pajama days. It's
He's in his pajamas. It's like 3 o'clock.
Oh my god.
But yeah, a little backstory on myself. My name's Caleb. I drift cars. I come from BMX. I hear you talk to so many guests about, did you come from BMX or skateboarding? And what?
It's a hot topic.
90% of them.
Oh yeah. Some type of extreme
action sport
type deal, yeah.
Freestyle. That's what drifting is, freestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, my background is BMX and drifting. I took a little bit of a break from drifting for a few years to focus on some other things, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. But yeah, that's me.
Hell yeah. All right, well, I guess first off, you just kind of had a major heartbreak.
Which one?
I guess which one is the question, right? South Carolina. Okay. So the car's obviously back together now, but
it runs. We could start it.
Let's do some trauma bonding, dog. Because I was having issues. He was having issues.
So in South Carolina, should I kind of give the backstory up to South Carolina? Because there's a lot that happened before it that made it even more of a heartbreak.
Let's hear the whole story.
All right. Then. So we finished this car. I worked my butt off. All of our partners, making sure that we had everything we needed to get this thing done early enough to test it before the first Grid Life, which was in South Carolina. So we got the car done. If you follow me on Instagram, I've talked about this a few times, or YouTube, that we wanted to do a low-cost drivetrain in this thing with an overbuilt chassis. That way, if any driveline components broke, it would be pretty cheap to fix. So we had a 6-liter LS with a cam, and that's pretty much it. An ISR intake, and we finished the car. We dynoed it. It went great. We went to Bristol, Tennessee for an East 10 event. I did 5 laps, and the motor exploded. We don't really know why. We don't think we had an oiling issue, or it's just a junkyard motor that was
Right.
Who knows what the mileage was? It let go. The motor cost me $1,500. It's not that big of a deal, right? But now that event was 2.5 weeks before Grid Life, South Carolina. So stressing, I called Jonathan Hurst and I said, hey man, I need a motor. I said, can you sell me one, build me one? What can I do? And he said, well, I'll call my engine builder, see what he has available. The timeline's short. We'll get you a motor. It'll be fine. I said, all right. So he called his engine builder, said, hey, we have a 408 motor here. It's $12,000. And I was like, fuck. That's not what I wanted to do. No. But I was like, all right, we need a motor. Let's just do it. We bought the motor, drove to, Paducah. That's where he lives. Paducah, Kentucky. Yeah. Picked it up, came home, swapped it in the car, went to the dyno. Dyno went great. Now, we're going to go test it. We're going to go try to test it. Yeah. 1 week before Grid Life up in Indiana. New motors in the car. It's in the trailer. We're headed to Indiana, and my truck catches on fire. Not like kind of on fire. Like really on fire.
Yeah.
But so my truck burns to the ground. It's a 2017 Ford F-250 diesel, burned to the ground.
Which was a good truck, all in all, leading up to that. I mean, how long did you have it?
Like 9 months.
Oh.
Yeah, it was new to me. It was basically a new truck. I know 2017 is not that new, but
I redact my statement.
But it was a very nice truck, and it was maintained well. And apparently, these trucks have a problem with the fuel filters. They're plastic, and they get pinholes in them, and then it pisses diesel all over the exhaust and goes up in flames.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was really sad. My wife was there. My wife is tough as nails, and I've never really seen her cry over anything. And she was crying, and I knew that, okay, this is a bad situation. I lost my wedding ring. I lost a bunch of camera gear.
How much money in camera gear do you think you lost?
I lost $2,000 because I bought all the new stuff. It's right there. I didn't lose my camera. I just lost batteries, a tripod, a fluid head, a slider, just like little things.
Expensive little things.
Yeah, but not like camera bodies and lenses. That's way worse. Yeah. So anyways, the truck burns to the ground. We don't get to test the car, but we get everything home safe. Everybody is safe. Nobody's injured. My daughter wasn't there. We get home. We have to buy a new truck in a week. So we buy a truck. This time I went with Chevy. Figured we'll just try them all out until one works. We bought a Chevy.
Chevy's the way.
I think it is, dude. He drove it. Dawson drove it today.
It's a great truck.
Good truck. So we drive out to South Carolina with an untested car that's been on the dyno, and we're confident. It was $12,000. How would it break? It's expensive.
That's what I would think.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we get there, we do one lap on the big track, and we have some inconsistencies in oil pressure. So up and higher RPM, the oil pressure to just dip a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, it's slosh or something's happening. Maybe it's low in oil.
Right.
And we have Haltech support there. Haltech sent Brad down to be our trackside support, which is very appreciative. Shout out Haltech.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
They're the shit. Haltech's awesome. And we couldn't figure it out. The oil pressure was dipping. There was aluminum in our oil. You were there. Mm-hmm. We drained our oil, and it was full of aluminum. So we called it. We didn't drive. We did 4 half-ass laps and then just hung out. And then we came home. I pulled the motor out. This is the whole reason. This is the South Carolina misfortune.
You're good.
Now we're there. I pulled the oil pump, and the oil pump had eaten itself. It was a milling pump, and I think that it just ate itself. Maybe it was aligned improperly. Maybe the crank walked. We don't know. But either way, the engine builder said, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
That's it.
Which is huge. Because any other engine builder would have probably told me to eat shit.
Yeah. Who was the builder again?
Mike Lau Racing Engines. He's out of Missouri. Fantastic human. He's been building LSs for 35 years. And at no point did I think that he'd done something wrong. Like, shit happens.
Right, of course.
But this is a brand new motor, and he said, you know what? This shouldn't have happened to you. He said, we'll fix it.
He took it on the chin.
And he fixed it. And it probably cost him a few $1,000s in repairs. So, a huge shout out to them. And we will continue to work with Mike for as long as, for as long as
we're running LS.
As long as we're running LSs, yeah. So he, in 2 weeks, tore that motor down, rebuilt it completely, and asked me what I wanted changed. So we bumped the compression from 10.5 to 1 to...
Damn, so not only did he fix it, he upgraded it.
Yes, significantly.
What a fucking guy,
No,
man.
he's great. So now we're at almost 13 to 1 compression.
If I ever build an LS, I'm coming to you.
And he's just a good dude. Like, just easy to talk to, easy to work with. He's great. So we got higher compression, new cam, a couple other special goodies that he does to his LS motors. I'm not going to spill his secrets, but reach out if you're interested. And we went to the dyno the other day, made some power, went to a spot and kind of tested the car, and it works.
Mexico.
Yeah, that's what they call it, right? Yeah, we went to Mexico, and it worked. And so I think we're good now, but like Dawson was just saying, I mean, like $100,000 in shit.
Oh, yeah.
In a month.
Now, my situation wasn't nearly as bad as yours.
Do they know about yours?
I think I talked about it slightly on the last podcast.
But you don't know what your problem is. That's worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still stuck in limbo
That's
right now.
worse. When you know exactly what the problem is and you can just fix it, that's one thing. But when you are chasing your tail for a couple events, that's worse.
Yeah. And luckily, I mean, of course, thanks to Njuku for helping me out on the turbo and everything. Mm-hmm. We think that's the issue, but I mean, going and dropping $1,700 on a Garrett turbo or what, I don't even honestly know how much it was.
That much?
I was just like, fuck
$2,000?
it, I have to buy it. I just got to buy it. Yeah. So I bought it. And dude, it sucks. I don't know what's going on. It's just a bunch of boost issues. The car builds boost, it just won't hold it. Even if you're just like left foot braking it, just trying to build the boost in a straight line, it'll build it. And as soon as you let off, it goes away. It's gone. Like it has a boost leak or something like that. I can't fucking find one as far as like feeling couplers and like making sure nothing's loose. I don't have a tester.
Should have brought your car. We got a smoke machine here. Yeah. We could have fixed it.
I have a smoke machine that I could ghetto rig and like make work.
Vape it.
Yeah. That would be a little too difficult, but yeah. So basically, I'm in limbo trying to figure out if the turbo's the issue, if I have some type of leak that I don't fucking know where, which I shouldn't, because the intake and exhaust side both have brand new gaskets. Everything has new gaskets. Everything's tight. All new couplers, all new intercooler piping, all new intercooler, radiator, like everything's new. So it's fucking baffling.
Sometimes it's the new stuff that'll get you.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
New stuff.
Like, well, I won't go into that.
Stuff happens.
Some parts of my car I'm not too fond of from the
manufacturer. Happens. It takes time to find the stuff that works for you and is reliable. And building cars is new. I would rather have an old car than a new car. There's so many just weird things.
New cars are just a rolling computer. You got to be a whole IT major to be.
No, I just mean like even just new bolt-on parts. Like.
Oh yeah.
I don't. You think if you spend a bunch of money, shit will work, and it doesn't sometimes, and it sucks. But your next, do they know who your next guest is? Guest? Who your next guest is?
No. I actually just figured that out. Finalized it last night.
Yeah. Maybe he can help you with your RB.
Hey.
There you go.
Take your guess on who you think that one is.
Yeah.
And actually, what's today's date? It'll probably give him a better hint because this is going to come out weeks later.
It's the 4th.
Yeah, it's the 4th. There you go. So now there's your hint. Put your guess in the comment who you think it is and what question you would want to ask him. How about that?
I'll put a question in. I'll comment on my own video.
There you go. Oh, hell.
So yeah,
right,
but it's not just us, right, with the bad luck. This year in drifting has been so bad for so many people. I remember my truck burned to the ground, and the next day...
That alone, what's up with all these fucking fires? Renegade alone just had a warehouse burned down. Well, not fully burned down, but lost a shitload of their product.
Yeah, but the Drift Games thing happened.
Bridges are burning down. Fucking Drift Games is burning down. Your truck's burning down. We just talked... Derek Madison, we just talked about... Didn't he have a fire for something? On something?
He's had some bad shit, too. I don't know.
He's going through a shit show
right now. But I saw the Drift Games thing, and I just, like, instantly didn't care about my truck anymore. I was like... I'm upset.
Feel belittled real fucking quick.
Like, what is my little truck? Like, fuck that truck.
You just said the camera gear. Like, luckily it wasn't a camera body or anything. Everything,
and I don't even know any of those guys. I follow them. I'm a huge fan of Drift Games, and I watched that happen. And I like wanted to comment on his Instagram, Dave's Instagram, and I was like, what could I even say? Nothing I say.
Oh, I DM'd him, I commented.
But like,
I made a clip,
what could
and
you
it's
say?
still every single one of those that I did, I sat there for like half an hour
Because
just
you're
trying
like
to contemplate what the fuck even makes
You're like,
sense.
this means nothing. There's nothing I can do, right? Like, they worked so hard. I do not know these guys at all, but they worked so hard. And I've watched while I was out of drifting. I watched them. That's kind of when I wasn't drifting. I was watching drift games, and like I don't know. It's always to the good dudes. The good dudes always. They do so much for drifting, and then boom, everything.
Nice guys finish last.
It's true.
Every fucking
Remember
time.
that.
But did you see Larry Chin and his little video that he made?
Cannon hooked them up with some bodies.
Pretty fucking epic.
Yep.
Shout out to Cannon for that.
Yeah, shout out Cannon.
I don't even use Cannon, but that's sick.
So I would have. Larry sent me a box.
Absolutely. I'd be like, hell yeah. Cannon's the world, baby.
Cannon gave him some 1DX bodies and a C70 body, some lenses. It's a huge jump start. I mean, it's 15 grand in gear, maybe more.
That's probably more.
Maybe more. I don't know how much 1DX bodies are now, but they used to be expensive.
Yeah. Lenses are what's going to bite you in the ass.
Just drifting other than James Dean's car.
Oh my God. Yeah. I forgot about that one. Fuck.
So many. I hate to see it. And I know that everybody deals with things different and is in different situations, but like, it sucks.
Part of it.
No matter... everybody's like, oh, well, insurance will cover it. Like my truck.
Fuck you.
I post my truck, it burns to the ground. They're like, oh, no problem, bro. Get that check, cash out. Hell yeah, insurance money. I had liability. I own my truck outright. I didn't finance it. So here in Kentucky, insurance is really high, and it was going to cost me like a little over $500 to put full coverage on that truck. And I thought, that's too much money.
Yeah.
I'll just get liability.
And another thing on the insurance thing is like here, we're a little jaded here in America because like that's a big thing. And it's a lot easier to explain a small business to insurance. In fucking Ireland, no, absolutely not. They do everything in their power to make sure you can't start a small business.
And Dave talked about that a little bit.
He gave a little bit of chatter on that in one of his videos, which we can throw that in the description or something.
Yeah.
But dude,
Europe's tough.
You can't explain that this car that's supposed to Kelly Blue Books for what $500 half the time, but it's $100,000 car.
You're like, no,
nobody's gonna believe that.
I swear it's $100,000, and they're like, you're out of your mind.
You put stickers on it. What do you mean?
This thing's a piece of shit.
Yeah, you put fiberglass bumpers and stickers on it.
But
don't do that. Buy KBD.
What were we saying about? The insurance thing. Yeah, so. That truck burns down, I have liability. I'm not getting a check, so we made some merch to sell merch and try to recoup some money. Dude, go get one of those lighters.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Pause.
These things are cool.
We made some merch. Since our truck burned down, I figured I'd make lighters.
It's very fitting, elegant.
Yeah. So, put some lighters here.
No, that's actually really cool, though.
Yeah.
It's not something you see very often.
No, because you gotta light a candle.
Like, people smoke in the drift world and shit like that. So
Smoke
Dude,
what
he's even got
got
like at the gas station where the big lighters sit in, the little trays.
Oh yeah, I got the trays.
He's got those with it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh
gotta have
God,
them.
it's so perfect.
Yeah. So the new truck, I got full coverage. It's $500 a month, and it'll never burn down. That's just how it'll go. It'll probably never even break down. Because I got the insurance.
The trans will go out or some shit like that.
No, but I brought warranty too.
Well, that's got an Allison in it, doesn't it?
That truck's new. It's got warranty. It's fine, but
hey,
because I have all of those things,
shady as fuck, though,
no, the warranty.
I worked in a dealership.
Dude, you want to hear a fucked up story?
Warranty don't exist, bro.
You don't have to put this in here if you don't want, but I had a Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, a little mini SUV.
Just go ask Taylor Ray.
It was my dad mobile.
Yeah.
And it broke down. And I was like, this thing's fucking got 20,000 miles on it. I'm taking it to the dealer. It's got warranty.
Yeah.
They told me that somebody put sugar in my gas tank and it wasn't covered under warranty. But they didn't know that I keep it in the garage and I had already dropped the tank, checked the fuel system, and they just bullface lied to me.
Yep.
Just straight up lied to me to get out of a warranty job.
Yeah, they'll do that.
It's crazy.
Nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to put that in, but that's...
That's
right.
real life. Fuck that. I used to work in a dealership. I understand.
Maybe everybody needs a
lot of
warning.
the ins and outs, and like, you'll probably save someone's ass with that comment.
Yeah.
As much as that.
And I heard
like,
it's a
shitty
common
to
thing that they say.
Oh yeah.
That the sugar, and we all know as automotive people, you can put sugar in your gas tank and your shit will start. It doesn't.
The sugar's gonna dissolve.
It doesn't. It will literally start.
Fuck.
The car will run. Anyways, they lied to me. I bought a Ford. It burned down.
Fucked on race day.
That's right.
God, that felt like the most perfect time for that to actually, that saying to
Literally
actually
race
work.
day.
Fucked on race day.
You can insert the picture
Oh
of the
my
truck on
God.
fire with the cars unloaded. Like out behind because I didn't want I thought the trailer was going to catch on fire,
Oh yeah.
but it didn't. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. All right, well, enough of that sappy shit. I guess let's get a more in-depth rundown on what all's done to this car, where it sits right now,
Yeah.
kind of where you started with it, all that stuff.
I feel like I do a lot of rambling when I talk. I apologize.
It's a good thing it's a podcast.
But I'll take it back because a lot of you that have known me for years or watched me for years know that I took a big break. But I moved to Richmond, Kentucky, and I was not drifting. And my neighbor had a drift car. His name's Jackson Mead. And he had an E46. And he kind of pushed me to maybe start building a car again. No rush, but just start building a car again. And we found a chassis from a guy in Georgia. He supplied a lot of drifters with E46s, including Connor O'Sullivan and me. And just like when you're young and you get bit by the bug of drifting, it happened to me at 29. And it was just off.
Yep.
Or maybe I was 30. I don't know. 2 years ago.
It all blends.
Doesn't matter. 29. And it just, it was going to be like this kind of cheap piece of shit build that could go to the track and drift sometimes, but I can't do that. I just can't have a shitty looking car.
Yeah,
I
you get
can't
stuck
do
in
it.
it.
And when we started, a few of the partners that I'd worked with in the past had reached out and said, we support this. Like, what do you need? BC was one of them, Koenig, NRG and Prisma. Those were some of my longtime partners. And then from there, a lot of new partners came on board, and it allowed me to kind of expedite the process of building this car. And to kind of break down the car, it's a E46 pre-facelift car. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Three
they're all the fucking
something.
same to me. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Denofa, correct us in the comments. There you go.
Chelsea won't watch this.
No.
So we started with
Watch the clips.
We started with the chassis work first. So we did a cage kits cage in this thing. I've been good friends with Rob, Chair Slayer Parsons for a long time, and he actually gave Jackson a cage too. Surprised us. So we got 2 cages.
That's one podcast I'm really looking forward to.
He is
one
a
day.
great fucking guy. So we started with the cage from Rob and Cage Kits, and took the car down to Rise Fab. And it was only supposed to get the cage. That was it. That was like all the fab work we were going to do. And the chassis reinforcements, if you guys are familiar with the E-chassis, they're kind of pieces of shit.
Yep.
So you have to reinforce a lot of places on them. And we were going to use a stock gas tank with a Fuel Lab external surge tank.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I tried to do this thing that Grant is actually doing right now, Grant Anderson. I cut my fuel tank in half, the plastic one, and tried to plastic weld a cap to have just a half a tank.
Oh, what?
Yeah, but there's a certain tool that you have to have
Hold on. What's the point of that? Exactly.
to put weight on the passenger side of the car and as low as possible.
Gotcha.
So you'd have basically a 7 or 8 gallon cell, 6, 7, whatever it is, on the passenger side at the lowest point of the car, under the car. So I tried it, couldn't get it to seal properly. Grant also did it and has found somebody to seal it properly, which is awesome. Anyways, I gave up. FuelSafe said, hey, just put one of our cells in the car and we'll run the QSST from Fuel Lab, which meant that we needed a firewall now. So now our fab work's starting to get out of control. So now we've got a cage. Now we've
Just keep stacking.
We've got a firewall, and then we thought, well, why do we do a firewall? We should put a coffin on it, of course. So now we got a coffin, and then there's a fuel cell enclosure, and it just spiraled. And it got to the point where we decided that I think that the chassis should be at the highest level, right? Safety is important.
Yeah.
It's important to me. So we thought, let's but let's build the chassis to a high level and let's keep the drivetrain pretty simple. So cage gets cage, whatever. We got firewalls front and rear. And then under the car, we just did an E46 M3 rear end. Chelsea ran that in his FD car in the sedan. I don't know if you remember, but up to like 800 horsepower. So I thought, well, that's perfect for my junkyard LS that I'm going to put in this thing. And a TKX gearbox supplied by Injuku Racing. So it's pretty affordable drivetrain. And then it all broke, so then we had to add and stuff. But
shit.
Yeah, but so fuel safe, fuel cell in the back, all fuel lab, fuel sending, delivery parts, filter, regulator, all that. BC shocks. I've been with BC for almost 10 years now. Cody at BC has always taken good care of me and my builds, and huge gun guy.
Always been awesome. Helped me so far too. So
he's a big gun guy too. So we talk guns and training. Koenig Wheels. That's another partner that's been with me for a long time. So we've got 18 by 9.5s in the back and 18 by 8.5 in the front. We actually converted this car to 5 by 114.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So trying to stick to my my JDM ways, you know.
Fucking right.
My wheel
As it
fitment.
should be.
Yeah, and then let's see what else. Body on the car, the whole back of the car has been chopped off, and it's 2F Performance LFCs. And the LFCs are actually cut where their arches, where the 2F arches. So we cut it there, got rid of the arch, and then put Street Fighter LA on top of the 2F. So
no shit. Okay.
Do you see how it's two over fenders? Pause. This is one over fender, that's the second one.
Yeah.
You see that? It's pretty unique. Travis Reeder does it. A few other drivers. Anyways. And then SLR steering kit on this with a big sway bar. And then inside we've got all Prisma seats and harnesses, quick release.
These seats too are fucking sick.
Have you sat in the Halo one?
Scott has the exact same seat set. Well, I don't know if it's actually these two. I know Matt has the Halo seat.
This is the new one.
Yeah.
You get the new one?
Yeah. Literally just got it this year. It's fucking nuts.
It's a huge change. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Prisma or NRG Halo seats, the FIA seats.
Yeah.
The new ones, maybe we'll insert a clip or something. I don't know. But they're great.
Yeah.
They fit great. Carbon dash from HGK. All the electronics in the car are supplied by Haltech. This is actually the first vehicle to receive a production Rebel LS ECU.
No way.
Are you familiar with that?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
sort of.
It's an ECU for.
I run a Link in my car. So,
and I love Link. Link's great. This ECU is really for the guy who maybe lives out away from any tuners or shops and wants to LS swap his car. There's like 6 or 7 parameters you plug in, and your car will fire if you've done everything right.
Of course.
But it comes with a pre-terminated harness and the ECU. It's like $1,500. And this car, making over 500 horsepower and with crazy compression and capabilities to run boost or nitrous, all off that ECU. And there's some self-learning, like correction stuff that can be implemented.
Does a little bit of self-tuning.
So you just download like the free Haltech, like their software.
Right.
And then there's this thing called the Wizard in it. And that's where you put in all your parameters. So as long as you know, hey, I have an LS1 with this size injector. Yeah. It's going to start.
No shit.
Yeah, my car started first fucking crank. It was crazy. So shout out to Haltech. It's just nuts. I'm not a big tech guy, but it's making it easier for guys like me who aren't super tech savvy, right?
Yeah.
The guy who can't take his car to a shop and get a bass tune put on it to start it.
Literally.
I'm sure everybody deals with that,
That's literally what I was dealing. That's why I had to get a standalone.
Yeah.
I was in a situation where I had a Niz tune in the car. The car would run and everything, but I upgraded a lot of the fueling system and stuff like that. So it ran like shit. And I couldn't find a tuner. Nowhere. Nobody touches a Niz tune.
This is exactly in the LS world, because people are putting these motors in everything, not just drift cars, right?
Right.
So being able to do a swap in your garage and put a clean harness in it that has all brand new connectors on it that aren't broken. And then with a couple things, fire your car and drive it. Like
the harness thing, that's a big fucking thing for. I hate wiring whatsoever. I refuse.
Comes ready to go.
I've done I did the expansion loom harnesses for the sensors and stuff like that myself, but you go touching a full engine harness, hell no.
Yeah, or chassis
Never in my life.
harnesses,
I'm going right to wiring specialties.
And this car, it's got the Rebel LS ECU up front, and then we got a PD16 in the back, which runs all of our other stuff. So our wiring is very compact.
That's good.
There's like one fuse on the car.
No shit.
Yeah, one fuse.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's great. And then let's see what else in the car. The Street Fighter fenders, I think I mentioned that. We're on Kenda tires this year, which has been huge. It was really important to me to I'm always trying to bridge that gap between BMX and motorsports, right? Yeah. And if you rode BMX, I mean, even to this day, but if you rode BMX in the early 2000s, it was pretty common to have Kendas on your bicycle.
Right. Yeah.
So to be now, a grown up with a race car running Kendas. It's so sick. And Ed at Kenda's really been supportive of everything that I've been doing and believing in what we're doing and doing some media for them this year. If you watch but some of the reels and stuff on Kenda's Instagram, it will be edited by moi. So hope you like them. And the tires, dude, you want to know something crazy? This tire that's on here has done 5 laps at Bristol. Oh. I know it's not much, okay? I know. 5 laps at Grid Life, so that's 10 laps. And in Mexico, it did about 8 laps, and it's still half.
Oh, yeah.
Tread.
Yeah, they've got killer life on them.
Maybe a little less, but...
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Yeah. I've never had a tire that lasts so long. Like, it's nuts.
I've always said that about Kendas.
I've heard it, but I just never ran them.
Really?
No. I never knew. And this is like, when we talk about
I'm excited to try the Valinos.
I've heard insane things about grip from the Valinos.
Yeah. Their new Ebisu tire should be more of a grassroots, that type of situation.
This is that's what I mean.
So that's why I'm like, dude, I want to try those so bad now.
I've always, when we talk about grassroots stuff and just wanting to go party and hot lap and stuff, you need a tire that can handle heat, that can handle a whole session. Like when you go to Grid Life, right? You don't want to come in. The sessions are like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you want to be out there without having to come in and jack your car up and swap tires. And I'm confident
which was me all week.
One set of Kendas will last a session at Grid Life. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I would 100%. If
that's huge.
Pushing over 500 horsepower or something like that, maybe.
We're there. So
okay.
We'll see now.
Damn.
Yeah, but super happy with those so far, and just overall the brand. It's really important to me to work with people that are happy and proud to work with us.
Absolutely.
I never want to feel like a burden to a brand. That sucks.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm trying my best over here, and they're like, yeah, we don't. It's just.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
SOS.
I'm
maybe,
doing my best. Yeah, I don't know. But like we said earlier, the other thing, motor, Mike Lau Racing Engines, 408 cubic inch LS. What else? Chase Bays. We got a ton of Chase Bays stuff in this car. All the braking components on the car are Chase Bays and Power Stop. So Power Stop, calipers and rotors, and then Chase Bays for lines,
Tell me you didn't go with the Hawk HP Plus like he tells everyone to?
Dude, aren't those $300?
Dude, yeah, they're expensive as shit, but he always recommends Hawk HP Plus.
Who says that?
Chase.
He's tripping, bro. These Power Stop brake pads work great. You could drive my car after this podcast and pull that handbrake. No. The best way to make a handbrake work is to use the right size master.
Yeah, that's always been the issue.
Important.
I see every single motherfucker do.
And also, you do not need a dual caliper handbrake. Did you hear me? Do you have one?
I do. I have since day one.
Shit.
But
this is extra weight, bro.
The fuck I care about extra weight for?
It's weight. Ask Chelsea.
I'm a style guy. I couldn't care less about making the car perform to its peak.
You got Kansei, right? Kansei wheels?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lightweight
Chrome Neos, baby.
Are they chrome?
Yeah.
Anyways, you don't need a dual caliper handbrake. Save your money.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, if you're getting started, it's not fucking worth it. It's really not.
RTR cars do not run dual calipers.
Yep, that is true. Yeah. I forget about that, actually.
But yeah, and my handbrake works great. Chase Bay's handbrake with a 5/8 master, power stop pads. We're using their brake booster delete. So if you look in my engine bay, like my driver's side corner is spotless. And there's all this extra room because I use their brake booster delete. And it's been fantastic. We use their clutch reservoir, tilting for the clutch, tilting for the clutch master.
The brake booster delete, actually, since you mentioned that, what would be the benefit of doing something like that if you're not building a major like comp car? Would there be any benefit?
So a lot of people in the show car world use them because it cleans up your engine bay. Brake boosters are ugly.
Very.
Now, if you're just driving your car, like daily in your car, right?
Yeah.
I would recommend that this not be for you, other than it looking better, because brake booster with vacuum, your brakes work really good. Now, when you get to going to the track and getting your brakes hot and you're under all these strenuous conditions, the brake booster can be inconsistent, where your manual brakes are always going to be the same. It's going to take more pressure to stop the car, but overall it will be more consistent, less touchy, left foot brake stuff, you know?
Right.
And the engine bay looks significantly better.
Okay.
Brake boosters are ugly. Chase Bay's brake booster delete looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's facts.
Because I've considered getting one just because, especially on the Z's, they have that false
That
firewall
shroud,
shit.
Yeah.
And I should have cut that out when I did the swap, but I didn't.
I cut mine out.
Yeah,
you didn't watch my videos, bro. You didn't watch my Z
I did.
videos.
I just didn't watch that one, I guess. But no, I contemplated it, and I wanted to keep it just so I could keep some heat management for some different things. But
the idea is cool.
after the fact, I'm like, nah.
It's miserable.
I wish I would have got that brake booster out of the way. I could have put my power steering reservoir in that area and not cluttered up the front where the intake for the turbo should be going and all that. There's a lot of stuff on the way I mapped out my swap that I wish I would have done differently, and that's a big one on it.
Yeah, I had manual brakes on all of my drift cars, so I always had the Willwood pedals, the swing style.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't weird for me. A lot of people will get this and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, my brakes don't work." They just don't realize when you have manual brakes, you have to apply a lot more pressure.
Harder,
There's no vacuum to help you. That Chevelle that we drove earlier, same thing, manual brakes.
Really?
Yeah, it's really hard to stop. So yeah, but God, it really cleans up the engine bay. That's like, my engine bay looks great because of that. And then all the other plumbing on the car is all from Red Horse Performance. So everything on the car has dry brakes.
Okay.
So if you have to change the clutch, you just unhook the dry brake.
Nice.
Put the new clutch in, plug it back in, and you do not need to rebleed your clutch.
Those are the future, bro. I'm telling you.
And then the front brakes, same thing. So whenever the front corner has to come off, just unhook it and go.
It's so convenient.
We use their PTFE stuff for the fuel.
If you've ever had to bleed brakes on a Z,
or at the track, or like
fuck that,
in the
dude.
sand.
Oh my god, dude! I went whenever I first started drifting. There was this cheat code you could do for Z's. I don't know if it's still available on eBay or Amazon or wherever I got it, but there was these Brembo brake. They said they were Brembos, but once I got them in, they never had the Brembo logo on it anywhere, stamped or anything, or just molded into the casting like they always are. But they looked identical, bro. They were identical to the Brembo brakes that you can get like factory for the Z and G. So I upgraded those. This is why I have over fenders on my car too, because I smacked my friend Willie by not having any brakes. Threw those on. I could not get those brakes to actually bleed whatsoever, ever.
Did you have the caliper on upside down?
No. They wwere accurate, 100% accurate.
Did you watch
I had multiple people check over me and make sure it was done right, and all of them were the same thing. We could not get it to bleed, even with a vacuum bleeder, with any type of bleeder. And we eventually said fuck it and threw the stock calipers back on, and then still wouldn't bleed after that. So as soon as air was introduced to the system, it did not want anything to do with it. So
I'm gonna let you drive this car after the podcast.
I'm down.
So you can feel what the brakes feel like.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're gonna be like, there's no brakes.
All right. Bet. Yeah.
So that is a thing. There's benefits for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also for like a daily driver, probably wouldn't recommend it. But there is a bias control. So like we have the foot brake all the way to the front.
Yeah.
And you can adjust that, pull it back a little bit. Like I was saying with what were we talking about? The dry brakes.
Yeah, the dry brake.
So yeah, the brakes and everything are off of that dry brake, have dry brakes attached to them to make maintenance easy. And this car has a front mount radiator still, so it gets a little cluttered. But I think that it's just so much work,
now,
bro. It's so much work, though.
Dude, I've heard that. It's a
everything to
pain
do
in the
it.
fucking ass to do.
I've got all the fittings. I've got all the Dash 20 line for the whole car. Shout out Red Horse.
Hey.
But we didn't have the time to do it. So we made, I'll show you when we're done too. It's got like, my radiator hoses are like this long. And it's basically just two Dash 20 fittings with like this much line in between them.
Oh, hell no.
So there's no flex. So it like has to be perfect. I regret doing that.
Yeah.
The front end, we didn't cut the front end off this car either. So like BMWs have a fantastic front core support section that's removable. With all these engine swaps I've been doing, it's really convenient. You know, the whole thing comes off. I don't know. Nothing else really on the car, I guess.
I mean, I think you basically covered everything.
I'll just ramble.
The dash is nuts. I know you talked about that.
Well, it's not actually an E46 dash.
Oh, is it?
No, that's an E. So this would not be an FD legal car. Only because that dash. That dash is the only thing that makes this car not FD legal.
What the fuck?
So an FD, you have to have the shape and style of dash to the stock dash that comes in your car. So you have to have an E46 carbon dash. That's an E92 carbon dash. And people have gotten caught doing that and got in trouble.
Gotcha.
But it looks sick.
So they just bolt right in? Like,
no, there's
real...
some trimming and some weld.
Oh, okay. So you gotta do some shit.
But none of
it's
them
worth
fit.
it.
None of them fit. I don't care who makes it. None of them fit. We have, we use Holdfast makes some like, the little quick detaches?
Yeah.
It's like a pin, you push it. There's 3 of those in there that hold the dash in.
Okay, yeah.
And it rattles a little bit, but.
Fuck it.
No, it looks good.
Yeah. No, one thing that I really like on this car, I don't know, who did your livery?
Yeah, so I reached out to David from Super Wow Factory. He did my buddy Evan's car back in the day. He did Adam LZ's S15.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For FD. And he's kind of one of those people where he doesn't take on a lot of like livery jobs. It's not, He does a good job, but it's not his bread, doesn't take on a lot.
Right.
So it's important to him when he does take one on that it turns out great, and I came to him with a little bit of an idea. I'm not the most creative person when it comes to like designing stuff, but I said, I told him we had this big partnership in the works, and I said, these colors need to be roughly around this. I want some chrome. Here's my logo, this little coffin, which we all know I've done the coffin thing forever.
Right.
And I said, just do your thing. And we did probably 3 renditions. And it's hard when you're seeing it on the computer because it's not, you can't see the textures and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty good, Like, it'll work, let's do it.
Right.
So he sent it to me, and once it was on, I was blown away once it was on the car. It really...
That's quite literally how mine turned out.
The renderings never do it justice. And I'm sure that everybody... Do you know that kid that was at South Carolina with the Red Z? The Izuku car?
Dude, yeah.
That dude did his car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that car's way sick.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I mentioned this before the podcast, the subtle, I don't even know if y'all can see this in that camera, but the subtle little touches of the vinyl.
And this isn't printed.
God.
This is not printed in. Like this pattern, I don't know. But the pattern is not printed into the vinyl. These are individual pattern stickers. It's 4 layers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He did a fantastic job.
It looks good. It's just the subtleness to it. Like even the black is what hits. The matte black on that kind of glossy is there like pearl in it?
No, it's a metallic. A metallic black.
Metallic. Okay, yeah. That just looks
everything
so
is
good.
layered. And yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
And he also does my merch. So
No shit.
yeah, Super Wow Factory does everything for us. Merch, livery for the car, all of our merch. So like the lighter thing, I like mentioned that, and he made it happen in a week. Our shirts.
I'm sure those are super simple to make.
Yeah,
stuff,
but like
it's
even just
so
sourcing
cool.
it, you know what I mean? Like he just going out of his way to do things fast.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is kind of rushed, and he works a normal job too, and goes out of his way to make sure that we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's been awesome to deal with. I'll continue to work with him, and next year we'll have a new livery, I'm sure.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, I really enjoy working with him. Check out Super Wow Factory.
Oh yeah. Well, one major thing that I want to bring up while we're on the topic of like sponsors and like partners and all that. This Walther is, which you can see by his gun. Big gun enthusiast. I am too, not nearly as much as you are. I don't have necessarily the time to even invest in it as much as I want to.
It's inexpensive.
This has got to be one of the most unique sponsorship, partnership deals within drifting that I've seen. So I guess more or less give a rundown how this kind of came to fruition.
Yeah.
Why you decided to do this route and like what it means to you, really.
I'll have to take it back a little bit, but most people know that when I was kind of transitioning out of drifting back in late 2018, early 2019, I just was going to take a break. It wasn't intentional that I was going to be gone for 4 or 5 years. It just kind of happened that way. But during that time, my daughter had just been born, and I thought, you know, I got to be able to protect my family. Like I need to be able to protect my daughter. I should get a gun. You know, you can fist fight. You know, but there's times where that's not enough. So I was like, I'm going to buy a gun, and then I'll be good. Then I'll be able to protect her. You know.
Yeah.
So I buy this gun. I don't even remember what it was, but I go in my backyard and I like set up a target like 8 feet from me, and I shot at it and missed it over and over again. I was like, what the fuck? This gun's a piece of shit. I was like, can't be me. It's 5 feet away, and I'm shooting at it, and I can't hit it. And finally, like barely nick it or something. I'm like, oh, I need
practice.
You have to train. Like this is not acceptable. I'm dangerous with this gun because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So just like anything, right? You go to YouTube. YouTube is where we go when we want to learn
University,
things.
baby.
That's how I learned how to make videos and how I learned how to drift, pretty much everything. So I found some people that seemed credible, people that others vouched for. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad information when it comes to firearms on YouTube, so you have to be careful. And I started taking these little tips and applying them in my backyard and just shooting, and I wasn't drifting, I was just shooting. I got good at it.
Yeah.
And passionate about it, you know. I'm a firm believer that you are your own first responder, right? Nobody is going to get there fast enough. You're there.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to, you know, stop bleeding. You need to be able to protect yourself. You just have to be, you're there for your family, you're there for yourself, and for others around you, right? But if you're going to be there, don't be a liability, be an asset. And you're not an asset unless you're trained. Mm-hmm. So whether that's learning how to give CPR, keeping a medic kit in your truck and knowing how to, you know, put a tourniquet on, that's a huge one. You know, I've gone through 3 IFAC medical kits helping people in car wrecks. I've never had to shoot at somebody, but I've used my medical gear a lot.
That's crazy.
Helping people, people that are bleeding out, people with severed limbs, people with, you know, shit happens. And you might be there before the ambulance or the police or whoever. So if you're going to train with a gun, you should get some training in a little bit of trauma or, you know, medical stuff. But anyways, so I'm shooting a lot. I'm burning it down. I'm making videos on Instagram. I'm shooting. I'm getting better and better and better. And I had worked with a few gun companies, just like we do in drifting, like sponsorship stuff, where they're like, hey, can we send you, you know, a slide or some ammo or a bag or whatever. And I was like, wow, this is just like drifting. Like I make some videos and somebody will give me some product and we can do stuff together. This is awesome. And then as we started getting back into drifting, I'm building this car and I'm working with all these great automotive companies. I thought, well, I do so much in firearms and the crossover's got to be insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, you talk to anybody in drifting and they own a gun or grew up around guns or own a gun or want to buy a gun or whatever.
I own 3 myself and never talk about it.
Yeah, you own about it. And that's the other thing. People are scared to talk about it. It is a taboo subject now. And I don't know why, because it's
I'm just not intelligent
the
enough.
Second Amendment on our Constitution.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty important. The second one backs up the first one. But anyways, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in that document a lot. So
I have a "Don't Tread on Me" plate on the back of my truck.
Yeah,
I'm there with you, dog.
I think that people have forgotten about their God-given rights living in this country to self-preservation and being able to protect what's yours, including your family.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, I will say, even if you don't give a shit about guns or for some ungodly reason protecting yourself, guns is one of the best investments that you can make out of almost anything on the planet. The value doesn't really change.
No, it doesn't.
Whatsoever. This gun could be 40 years from now identical to the price that it was sold.
Or more.
Whenever it was gone. Yeah.
Or more.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so I wanted a company to, and I didn't know who I was going to reach out to. I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted somebody who would kind of give me creative control with this project and the program to represent them in a way that they backed, you know. I think it would be weird if, let's say, somebody that didn't train with firearms hit up a gun company and was like, hey, sponsor my car. And they're like,
a little odd.
And they're like, well, you know, they're like me in the backyard, can't hit a target 5 feet in front, right? I can go to a pistol match and hang.
Yeah.
Like, I can burn it down. Like, and I think that was, I would think, a selling point to Walther. You know, when we talked, like, hey, I'm not just a guy that likes guns. I shoot, I train. I'm an advocate for the Second Amendment.
Right.
And for growing this community and making sure that people know it's okay to like guns. So I reached out first, before Walther, I reached out to a friend of mine who's she lives in Alaska, Amy556 on Instagram. I hit her up and I said, hey, I have this idea. I need a gun company who is going to give me some money and believe in what I'm doing, and we can grow together and grow this partnership. And I said, who should I call? She said, I have a great contact at Walther, and she put us in touch. And Chris Long, who's one of the marketing guys over at Walther, we got on the phone and just hit it off immediately. You know when you talk to somebody the first time, and within seconds it goes from being a little nervous to just like,
known this dude for like 20 years.
You know what I'm talking about. It doesn't happen very
absolutely.
often. But our first phone call, it was just like, I got off the phone and didn't have an answer.
Right.
But I was like, we're good. Like, me and Chris, we're good.
Yeah.
And it's just worked perfect. I mean, we've done some stuff with their guns. We did a reveal video for the car, and our goal is just to basically create content, right? It's everybody's goal. And to talk. Like, I want you to come to me at an event and ask me about firearms, whether that's training or a product. I don't care if you own a different gun, but if you have questions about training, about safety, about reliability, and you know, how to maintain your stuff, how to carry your stuff, what ammo to shoot. Yeah. Like, hit me up. Like, I think that there's just not a place, right? Like, it's not, I think a lot of people in the gun industry, like influencers in the gun industry, kind of look like cops. Does that make sense?
That's so true, dude. What the fuck?
And they're not approachable. They're not. And like, for a dirty little drift kid that likes guns and wants to learn how to shoot and train and protect himself will feel more comfortable reaching out to me, I would hope.
Absolutely.
And I want to be that person. Like, I want people to be able to hit me up and feel comfortable hitting me up. Because it's a weird, like, on the hobbyist side, everybody kind of dresses the same and looks the same in guns. Like, you go to a pistol match and everybody's got like Solomon shoes on and like an Arc'teryx jacket, like a $700 rain jacket. I just
then again, you look at us and we're all dressed the fucking same too. I mean, look at us right now, literally all black.
Yeah, bro, your fit's good. You got a good fit.
Hey.
So, anyways, it's something that we want to grow on. Walther's very much invested into motorsports and loves it. We haven't had a very good.
Cool to see.
We haven't had a very good showing yet, considering Chris has came to 2 events and our motor's blown up twice. But we're good now, and we have a ton of awesome stuff in the future. We're just getting started, and I'm very, very excited and grateful more than anything. I mean, every time I look at my drift car to see Walther on the side of my car,
It's fucking nuts.
it is nuts. Like, it still doesn't feel real sometimes, even though, like, you know, we're so tight.
Even the small amount of times that you were on track at Grid Life, I mean, you were getting people left and right asking you, like, what the fuck, dude? How
Yeah,
the
a
hell
lot.
did you score that?
There's a lot of talk about it. Like, we went through tech, and one of the guys from Grid Life said something about it, you know, positive.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
positive. That's the other thing. Where's all my gun haters at? Because there is none. There has not been any. Maybe on your podcast, but we've had such a positive feedback. And I think that how you portray and how you carry yourself and how you talk and represent guns is important. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that could make this sponsorship look really poor.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
But yeah, we got a
Definitely doing it
PDP.
justice.
PDP on the table here. This is a Walther PDP. This is my carry gun. Optic, light, beautiful gun.
To anyone that wouldn't, this is going to be off topic to drifting, of course, but to anyone that wouldn't really necessarily understand guns, what would you relate this gun to as far as the more, I guess, generic, known to people, I guess?
I mean, right now, and for probably the last 20 years, a polymer 4-inch slide gun has been pretty standard. You have like Smith & Wesson has a MMP 2.0.
That's what I carry.
Yep. See, there's that. There's a Glock 19.
Yeah, never been a Glock guy.
Yeah.
So that's
There's a Walther PDP. I would say those 3 are pretty big right now. You'll have the other guys are gonna say there's a Taurus.
gross.
Yeah, I don't want to hate. I'm not a hater.
I tell you one.
I'm just a big
one gun that I was very impressed with, which it's I have it. I don't hardly use it ever really.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of sits there because I got it really cheap when they first hit the U.S. market. Was the Canex.
Yeah, I've heard things.
And I've never had one jam in any type of sense. I've never had any issue out of it. It's not like my end all be all pistol by any means, but like
there's a lot of good guns and there's lemons and everything, right? But here's my thing with guns. If you carry a gun, this thing only gets used in the worst case scenario, right? This has to save your life. It's either you or the other guy. That's how it's going to go.
right.
And if your tool doesn't work, you're dying. Right? Like,
Absolutely.
that's it. Like, if your car part doesn't work, you're going to bitch about it and go home to your garage and fix it. If your gun doesn't work, you're dead.
Yeah.
In a real situation, right?
Absolutely.
So we need to be mindful when we're purchasing firearms that are going to be used as our everyday carry or, you know, our truck gun or whatever, that's going to protect our family, ourselves, or the people around us. It has to be reliable.
Yeah.
There cannot be any chance that this does not go off, does not go bang. Because
it has to.
Yeah, it
it's
has
got to do the job.
It has
In that
to do its
scenario,
job.
it has to.
Now, you can go to the range with your high point and shoot at cardboard, and it might work sometimes, and
Have
it might.
fun.
Yeah, and that's fine, you know, but it's scary.
Yeah.
So maintain your guns, right? Know your guns, shoot your guns. You know, a gun technically isn't even in running order until you shoot 300 rounds through it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just like a car, there's
you
a
need to-
break-in cycle you got to go
And
through.
some people would argue that that's not real on both car and gun.
Bullshit to me.
Yeah, but I think you
that
should.
shit breaks in for sure.
I think you need to go put 1,000 rounds through your gun before you carry it.
Okay, so what is your reasoning for something like that?
So you're familiar, so you know where.
Just knowing where, like every to drop the clip to where the
You
slide locks
should be.
or just
Everything should be
everything.
like muscle memory with a gun, especially the mechanics of it. Because here's the thing: if you ever get into a situation where you're going to have to use it in a self-defense situation, the anxiety and your stress and adrenaline will turn you into a dumbass. You'll forget everything. Right? It happens.
Yeah.
You will forget everything. So the muscle memory, you'll retain about 10% of what you know in one of those high stress situations.
Yeah.
That's what they say. About 10% of what you know, you can make happen. So
I've had a gun pointed at me without a gun on me.
Yeah, and that sucks.
You don't even really realize what's happening in the moment. You kind of
black out a little bit, and you start to it's bad. So you need to know your gun. You need to know how it shoots. You need to be accurate with it. You need to know you need to know recoil. You need to know about ammo. Ammo's a huge one. The kind of ammo that you carry. If you're running around with full metal jacket rounds and your carry pistol, and God forbid you have to use your gun, and it's going to go through that person, and it's going to keep going, and it could injure somebody else. So learning and understanding good ammo and what ammo your gun likes. Some guns like a heavier round, some don't.
Yeah.
That's important.
My Smith & Wesson does not like cheap round, cheap ammunition.
Those are good guns.
I love
2.0?
I love
Good gun.
But
I like that we're talking about
we are not saying go out street drifting, doing stupid shit with your pistol in your passenger seat or anything like that. We don't condone. Don't do that.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that you should carry your gun all the time.
Okay, I know that, but like doing illegal street drifting is illegal. So you don't
I would always say do not street drift. Do not street drift, but always carry your gun.
Always carry your gun. Just don't do the legal activity with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have to say that. That's all.
No street drifting. Carry your gun. Go to the racetrack.
There's levels to the shit.
Come see us at the racetrack.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, I guess back on the YouTube stuff, how I mentioned the 350Z is what kind of brought me or gave me a lot of information, especially when I was building my car.
Yeah.
So going through YouTube and stuff, what is your opinion on YouTube in general? We'll just start there. Now that you're kind of not doing that stage as much. Yeah,
so I'd kind of have to go back to like BMX. When I was actively like a pro BMX rider, my sponsors had a couple different YouTube series where I wasn't like vlogging, but they were like, not daily uploads, but a couple a week where we would just go out and we'd ride, and there was a filmer and he'd film all the hijinks and the B-roll and the dialogue that would create these little stories from us either going to a park, going on a trip, going to ride street, filming, whatever. And then right around the time I got pretty invested into car stuff, which was really, I had a 240, but I didn't take it very serious. I could like drift a little bit. But I met Hurt and Brian Scotto at Hoonigan because they had just opened the second Hoonigan location in Long Beach. And my house was like 2 blocks away from it. And so I was actually riding BMX, filming on this loading dock, and the big bay door opened, and it was Scotto standing there.
Nice.
And Scotto, I didn't know who he was at the time. I knew what Hoonigan was, but not, I knew who Ken was.
Yeah. And
they just kind of helped me out. They like kind of brought me in. Like I was able to go to Hoonigan and talk and be around automotive stuff and see this whole new world. And I was poor and I didn't know how I was going to go drifting. That was the thing. I was like, I have no money, but I want to go drifting. I obviously didn't have any sponsors or anything. BMX didn't pay jack shit. We all know that. And I thought, well, maybe if I make some YouTube videos, maybe I could, get some help, or maybe it will grow and I'll make money. I had heard about people making money from YouTube.
Yeah,
This is like 2014 or something. I didn't know how it worked or if I was ever going to get there. And within like 6 months, it kind of picked up, and I was making like, a couple $100 a month. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, something's happening. And about a year into it, now I'm making a little bit more, not much, still maybe under $1,000, but I wanted to build a new car, and I was really wanting to do something crazy. Like I wanted to do drifting, like
full
absolutely.
on. Yeah.
And I wanted to build a new car, which I didn't really need to build a new car. I was just, that like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're an idiot and you are making bad decisions.
Yeah, we excuse stuff as
like
car guys.
You think you need a high-level car. You want... I just liked race cars. I didn't really like street cars. I've always been like a big advocate. Like I've always liked like NASCAR.
Okay.
I like race cars. So I wanted to build a race car, but I had no money. So I gave away my car. I think I was the first YouTuber to give away a car. I talked to Adam LZ on the phone and we talked about it back and forth, and he hadn't done it yet, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was kind of the test dummy. There's better ways to do it, and if I could do it now with more wisdom, I would do it differently, but we did it, and this kid won a car, and it gave me a little bit of money to start the S14. And the S14 that I built with that money, or some of it, is what a lot of people who have been in drifting for a while would kind of know me from. And the S14 was great. And that build I documented on YouTube like everybody does, like the typical vlog.
Of course, yeah.
Build the car. And then I was making enough money to live. Now I didn't have to have a job. I actually told my BMX sponsor to give my paycheck to a younger, like a new rider. I wasn't riding as much. I was still riding, but I wasn't going on trips. I wasn't filming video parts. So I gave up that check and I lived off of YouTube, and we built this car and we got pretty good at driving it, and started getting some sponsors, some help. And I didn't really rely on sponsorship money from my partners because I was making enough off of YouTube to just kind of self-fund. There was a little bit of monetary support from a few partners, but most of it was self-funded because we had YouTube money. And then one day it stopped. Like literally, when I say one day, I mean like 1 month I made X amount of dollars. The next 60 days I was making almost nothing. Yeah. And it was a huge shock because I didn't prepare myself for that. It was just bad planning, and maybe my content got stale. I'd be the first to admit it. I was doing one car all the time. There was no diversity in the builds, and it was my fault. But with that, I couldn't sustain my program. I didn't have an extra source of income. We didn't have good partner money. I had to do what was right for my brand new daughter. This is about the time I got into guns. And I sold the car, and I regret it every day. I missed that car, but...
This was a Z, right?
No, this was the S14.
The S14, okay.
That was like the
baby, the pride and joy.
That thing was sick, yeah. And I didn't want to do it, and it was kind of abrupt, and I hate that I put myself in that situation. Nobody else did. It was nobody else's fault. I wasn't prepared. And it just is what it is. So I sold it, and I took like 6 months to try to figure out what I was going to do. How am I going to make enough money to go drifting and sustain my family and keep my daughter, fed. She's brand new. And I was going through some other stuff in my life at that time that just was difficult to deal with, and wasn't very happy. You know what I mean? Just all these things at once made it difficult to even think about how to get back into drifting. So 6 months turned into like 10 months. And then Tire Streets, who I was working with at the time, had reached out and said, hey, we'd really like you to come drive Grid Life. They had just gotten a new driver, Nate, and Bagsy was in town from England. So last minute, I put together this Z, last ditch effort, all of my money that I had. Tire Streets had helped out. But everything else was on me, building the chassis. ISR helped out tremendously through their whole catalog of the car, like you mentioned. Yeah. We had everything from ISR, the swap kit, the headers, all the bushings, the arms, shifter. I mean, literally everything.
It was everything.
Shout out AK. I know. That one sucked, Andrew. I'm sorry. Anyways, we built the car. We put an LS in it. It overheats a bunch at Grid Life. We come home. We fix the overheating. We go to Bristol. The same track where this motor, the first motor from the E46 blew up. Same corner, same event, blew the motor. And I had nothing else to give. The motor was gone.
Absolutely not.
I had nobody who was going to pick up the slack. It was just over. And I just accepted it. you don't want to, right? Like you don't want to accept it, but at a certain point, there's nothing else to grasp. Like there's nothing else to save you. And I just tried to almost forget about it. And it's weird with drifting because when you get out of drifting, nobody talks to you anymore. And I don't say that in a bad way. I mean that everybody who's engulfed in drifting, whose life revolves around drifting, is so busy that to even think about trying to socialize with folks outside of it, there's no time. We're all so busy.
Oh, yeah.
So I never held that against anybody, but it's just weird because everybody that you've been so close with, like they're almost like your family, are just gone now. And your hobby's gone. Everything's just gone. And I had to find something to kind of help me cope with this big life change, and firearms were that at the time. And I dabbled with the YouTube thing with firearms too. And it just made it worse.
Oh, yeah.
The views got worse because not only did I think a lot of my audience not care about guns, but YouTube doesn't want to push that stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
That's true.
And so, I don't know. It was just a weird thing. I just kind of gave up on it. You know, I met my wife, and she knew that I drifted a little bit, and like we talked about it, and she thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But I never once mentioned like, oh, I'd really love to get back into this.
Yeah.
But the minute that I did, she was like, yeah, you should.
Fuck, we're all in.
I was like, I told her straight up, I was like, we're going to be broke. It's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's stressful. It's hard on the whole family. It's going to be hard on you. It's going to be hard on me because she'd never dealt with it before. And she was supportive then. And here we are now with a car and sitting on your podcast. And she's still supportive. I wish she was here, honestly. But yeah, my wife's great. My daughter loves it.
Every time I see him, she's literally right next to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. So
I will say though, I don't know, like, well, I guess I'll ask instead. Did you see the level of importance that those videos had at the time?
When I look back at them now, yeah, for sure. Because without those videos, without me doing YouTube, you wouldn't know who I am.
Yeah.
Half the people watching this wouldn't know who I am. And I
wouldn't know half the shit I know about the Z chassis itself.
Period, yeah. And I worked my butt off on those videos. Like it was important. Like that was an important point in my life. I don't regret doing it.
Yeah.
I did it a little bit wrong towards the end, and I don't even think I did it wrong. I just didn't I didn't scale it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do. And there's so many great YouTubers like in the car world, you know what I mean? Like LZ,
phenomenal.
How the fuck can you compete with that? Like, and I know
the only one that can is TJ.
I've known LZ.
And it's in a whole different avenue.
It's different. I've known LZ for a long time from BMX. You can watch on YouTube me beat his ass in a game of bike. It's on there. Twice. No, but
throw it out there.
That's all I got. But everything.
He sucks.
No, he's a good bike rider and fucking super good at business. And we're like so different, polar opposites. Me and Adam, you know what I mean? But to watch what he's built,
it's fucking nuts.
Insane. I mean, it'd be insane to hate on that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might not want to hang out with him, but you cannot knock how successful, and it's unreal.
Yeah.
So sick.
He's paved the path for every YouTuber
and the videos are
space
like,
out there.
That's what I mean, though. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's not relatable. Some people may. That's thunder. Some people may argue that his videos aren't relatable because there's so much crazy
stuff. It's so scaled up now,
you know. But it's entertaining. It's sick. I think it's great. What's another one? You've got dudes like Taylor Ray who are just by himself. Like Adam's got this compound with like 50 employees.
Yeah, I've always said that. Taylor Ray is one of the ones that like genuinely impresses the fuck out of me.
Yeah,
because I don't understand the content. It's the simplest editing style. It's the simplest recording style. Mm-hmm. It's all just
on like
ASMR,
Sony handy
clicky
cams
type shit.
Yeah,
the little handy cams, and half the time it's a GoPro, and half the time it's just his iPhone. Or
his videos are great. His content's good. I think it's a little bit more relatable. He unfollowed me on Instagram a few weeks ago. I saw that. Just know I saw that, Taylor. Hater.
I don't know if he watches the full podcast, but
Somebody
he definitely
will-
sees
somebody
the clips
will
every
tell
once in a while.
I know you unfollowed me on Instagram.
Tag
dog.
Taylor now.
I saw it. But his shit's really good. Fuck. There's so many. I mean, Hurt doing his own.
Oh, yeah.
Hurt doing like not Hoonigan.
Denofa's doing it now.
Chelsea's videos. I'm just kidding. Chelsea. I'm just kidding, dude. Chelsea's my boy.
Oh.
Did you know that me and Chelsea worked at a drift school together?
Yeah.
You did know that?
Yeah, I've heard that before. Okay. I don't know
That's my
the
dog,
story
though.
behind it, but yeah.
It's his drift school. We didn't work there together. He owned it. I worked for him.
Right.
That's how it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chelsea's the man. His videos are good. I think that it's so sad not seeing Chelsea in FD. Like, I literally watch FD for my friends, right?
Yeah.
Like my close friends, and there's like 5 of them that are in FD. And Chelsea and Travis are not there.
Yeah.
And those are like the 2 people I'm closest with. And it's like hard.
It's a little heartbreaking.
It sucks. Travis is coming here.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's building his demo car right now, and he's going to come out here. Travis, hurry up.
Hurry your ass up, bitch.
Yeah. Travis is building a demo car, and he's going to come out, and we're going to do some good life stuff together.
Sick.
And
okay.
I told you about that other secret thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't spread that yet?
No.
Of course.
And I don't even know if it's going to happen, but it would be sick.
It's very unique to see, well, I guess that you are one of those OG guys, but you don't have the spotlight that those OG guys have.
And I'm all right with that because, and I think it hurt me to be myself on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Each one of these YouTubers, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but a lot of these YouTubers who you watch on YouTube are not the same person in real life.
Yeah.
And because I know them all the big dogs, I know them, and they're not the same person. And they're a character for their audience, and it works, and the audience loves their character. And for me, I just always felt like that if you walked up to me at a drift event, you should get the same person at the drift event that you saw on a video the night before the event.
Yeah.
That was important to me.
Yeah.
I didn't sugarcoat anything. I never changed my personality. I kept it real.
Yeah.
And that was my main focus, and I think it hurt me. You know, I think that helped.
Because I think there's always a level of like keeping the real and rawness to it, but also
Chelsea.
Yeah,
Chelsea's the only one.
Yeah, but I think there's also that aspect of it, because that can get carried too far, as in your fails, and then you just look like you complain too much in a certain sense. Which I'm not saying you did, but I'm
I
saying
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you sound like you're just complaining nonstop
like the poor me shit.
Nonstop, instead of just like, this is the problem that happened. It sucks because of this. Yeah. Now this is the approach I'm taking.
That's how you have to do it.
And being
the poor me shit doesn't work.
Influencer is you're literally being the influence for all of those shitty situations, which is why it's so consumable and easy for you to watch.
Playing the victim thing, like being the poor me shit, where I see people bitch about YouTube or how hard it's been, or I won't name any names, but I saw one just recently, like just complaining about how hard it's been since YouTube.
I see it all the time. And
I'm like,
one big reason why I started this. I want to prove that it's still possible.
It is. Oh, it's for sure possible. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because I've made the mistakes, and it's never poor me. I'm like, yeah, I fucked up. I did this wrong and this wrong. I should have done this, and this is where we're at.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. But like I said, I think being real, being myself, hurt me.
That's so crazy.
It's true though. You know, I didn't put on enough of a show. And like I don't regret doing YouTube. I still make videos once in a while. I haven't made a video since this car's been done.
I noticed that.
Did you?
I had to do research on you again.
Yeah, so...
And I was like, wait, what am I doing? There's nothing new.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have a plan, but I haven't made one. And it's time consuming. You know, this is a small operation that we have here. It's myself, my wife, and my Uncle Mo. This is my Uncle Mo's shop that we're in right now. My shop's down the road. And this one has AC. That's why we're here.
And we got Fancy Snap-on
Yeah,
boxes and stuff in
and
the
his
back.
fancy Snap-on box. That's not my toolbox. But
We wish.
my Uncle Mo, he retired and he's bored.
Yeah.
So he helped out. And
so cool.
So we have a small family team. I have some my friend Devin. He helps out at the track sometimes. Jackson, who you met. Shout out Jackson.
I have a shit ton of footage of him too, just from random
He fucking
events and
shreds.
shit.
You guys should follow Jackson Mead or Mead_Jackson on Instagram. He shreds. But it's a small operation. So my point is that when I'm trying to work on a car with a blown up motor, manage partnerships, create content for those partnerships, and then also trying to make a YouTube video on top of it. And there's more to it. There's more than just those things, but it's just so difficult. And now that I do media,
Throw a brand new car in the
it's
mix of all
hard
that.
for me to make a shitty vlog when I know that I'm capable of making this epic, beautiful video that nobody cares if it's beautiful. They don't care if it's filmed on your iPhone.
Yeah.
They just want videos, and I respect that, but it's hard for me to pour time and effort into something that looks like dog shit.
I agree. I feel you, and especially now because I'm doing the same thing, but that was actually going to lead to my next question.
Yeah.
You're already just fucking hitting them.
I got you,
So, how did all of that branch into the media company?
Yeah, so I sold after the 350Z blew up, and I just called it quits on drifting. And not quits. I've never once been like, I'm never drifting again.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had to take a huge step back. I got a job, a real job, 9 to 5. I worked on side-by-sides. I bought a nice Snap-on toolbox, and I was working on side-by-sides, and it was cool.
Collecting that check.
Yeah.
Fucking chugging.
Yeah, and I negotiated that shit. Like, I was making bread. I was not broke. And then COVID happened, and they shut the shop down. And I was like, oh no. Like, what the fuck?
I'm extra fucked now.
Now what am I going to
Holy
do?
shit.
You know, so I'm like thinking, I'm like, all right, maybe I can do side-by-side work on the side at people's houses. I don't even own a side-by-side. I want one so bad, though.
I would love to, but I think it's one of those things
like
that I would
30
get
grand.
extremely bored of very fast.
Yeah,
and
Travis just bought
I
one.
would hate to, like, deal with all the extra shit to
I
get
can
it
work on
there and, like,
I got
got
you.
a mechanic ready.
Just get a Can-Am. I got you. So anyways, the shop shuts down, and we got that Biden money. What was that? What is it called?
Stimulus. Bullshit.
Stimulus. And it was like...
Any motherfucker that thought that was a good idea, fuck you. Now we all have to pay that shit back. You're fucking retarded.
Yeah, now
Sorry.
look at your grocery prices. Inflation's a son of a bitch. And that was the stimulus money, right? So we get, I don't remember how much it was.
I think the first one was like $1,500.
And then at 500 if you had a kid.
Yeah.
So
it's
I had like
fucking
$2
dumb
grand.
shit.
And I was like, what am I going to do for money? You know? And I don't even remember how I got the idea, but I was like, I'm going to buy a camera and I'm going to go to some businesses and try to make some videos. I was like, I make videos, YouTube, you know, not the same world, but I was like, I could probably do it. So I bought an A6400, which is the camera that is on Dawson's face right now. And I bought a little gimbal and a lens, and I had a good friend named Scott who filmed a lot of my BMX stuff back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he gave me some pointers, and I watched some YouTube videos, and I hit the ground running. I went to all the local businesses, and I offered to do some free videos just to get my feet wet. And this was 2020.
Yeah.
This is right when COVID happened. And I made a couple videos, and they were dog shit. They were not good.
Yeah, your first ones always suck.
And then eventually, like, there was a small boutique in this town I used to live, and she was willing to pay for it. I was like, oh, I've made it. $300. I think that's what I charged her. I was like, right on. And she's still a client of mine to this day.
No way.
Oh yeah. And she was my first real client, and she still gets like, not $300, but
well, yeah,
but she still gets like real cheap pricing. But anyways, it's just like partnerships, sponsors and stuff. You negotiate and you figure out what each other need and want, and eventually it turned into a business that was it was a job. It paid my bills. It paid for drifting, and I would even do weddings. Like Imagine me showing up to do your wedding video, you know?
Tattered as fuck.
Yeah, but it works, and I make pretty wedding videos.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and they pay good, and so I was doing that full time. Like I was just working like a dog. Like I paid for my own wedding off of video work.
Yeah,
and we felt like, okay, you know, we're doing pretty good. We bought a new house up here, and I met Jackson, and Jackson is literally like my neighbor. The kid Jackson Mead we were just talking about. And he has an E46, and I got to talking with him one day, and we hung out a couple times, and he encouraged me to, bro, you need to get a car. Like, we need to tandem together. You know? And I was like, no, like maybe one day, you know, and I was on Marketplace, son of a bitch. And there was an E46 for like, I don't remember how much it was, but $1,000 or something with a gearbox and
no shit.
It had everything but a motor. And then that's how the whole thing started. Like, but with that media stuff and having a media company, my clientele is 90% corporate. I do videos for banks. I do videos for dealerships. I do videos for drink companies. Stuff completely separate from motorsports. And coming back into drifting and building this program is a really good asset to have. Having the gear, having the equipment, having the know-how, knowing how to create and make content that works, and that was a huge part of it. So now we're shooting. I shoot for drivers at Formula Drift. I shoot for brands, product videos, and yeah, it's just evolved. I mean, I think that AI sucks.
Yeah.
AI is going to make it really tough in the future, but the creativity that we all have, you know, an eye for shooting or editing or coloring or whatever, you can't replace that. Yeah. So
in the future, I definitely see AI getting more of a problem. Now, like even for me, I use AI in some scenarios of my editing and stuff like that. It's post-production, but you still have to have like a level of editing knowledge to even be able to use half the shit
for
anyway.
sure.
So it's like
it's a tool.
Yeah,
but it's just it's a fucking gray. It's like a fine line of where it makes you obsolete. Mm-hmm. And now the client can just do it themselves because it's easy enough for them to understand.
Right.
But we had a conversation earlier for an hour about media.
We had a whole podcast.
We had a whole podcast before the podcast, which we did not record, and just kind of throwing around ideas on how to grow and how to monetize and make money with media. I mean, there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of people in this media space that are not charging enough for their work and their time. And we found out that a lot of that is just not knowing how to approach a brand or a company to get that job or get that retainer or get that client. Yeah. And so, yeah, we talked about that. It's interesting. It's tough because everybody has a different take on it. Some people, sadly, for some reason, don't want to make a lot of money.
That one I don't understand whatsoever.
Yeah, but they'll do it. Yeah. If I could just get to FD, I'll do it for free. That's what they do. You guys are bad for all of us. Don't do that.
Yeah. Like he said, he went out to some businesses in his area and did some work for free. That builds your portfolio.
Yeah. Sizzle reels.
So yeah.
It gave me footage to create a sizzle reel to then show new clients my past work. And it's easy. I just walk in with an iPad and a 30-second video and say, hey, would you have time to check out my 30-second sizzle reel? And usually they go, oh my God, we love it. Take our money.
Nope.
Just like that.
He's got my brain spinning, you know.
Yeah, we were chatting.
Just to sum up that whole story.
Yeah. But, and I think you had asked, like, if I had never done YouTube, I would have never had the idea, that light bulb never would have went off to start the media company.
Right.
Even though they're totally different. Mm-hmm. You know, the YouTube stuff was terrible, vlogs.
Yeah.
And then the commercial stuff is high production with a ton of gear.
Yeah.
you know.
Which obviously a lot harder to get into.
It is.
But
Yeah. The buy-in is huge.
yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Crazy. Okay, so hold on. Where the fuck was that? Okay, so I know we talked a little bit about the getting back into this car and stuff and back into drifting, but after the media company and you found yourself comfortable and stuff like that, what was the final, like, I guess, push for you to be like, fuck it, I'm all in on drifting again?
Yeah.
This is just it. It's got to happen.
So when you do that, I had to sacrifice making money because I was working so much with the media company that there was no way that I could go all in with drifting and still be able to take on that workload. Mm-hmm. Right? So I basically, I dropped a lot of my clients to allot myself time to work on the car and build the program. It's, building the car was time consuming, but you can do it at night and on the weekends and you can find time to thrash on a car. But the phone calls, what did I tell you earlier about phone calls and emails?
Don't email shit.
I don't email.
Yeah.
I don't do
It's
emails.
only phone calls.
Phone calls only. All of my deals, all of my correspondence, even with my friends. Fucking, you could ask Travis. Travis, he hates it, but I only phone call. I want to hear who I'm
That's
talking to.
one thing that I'm bad about.
Yeah, but
I
it's
text just to get it over with really quick in normal situations,
Yeah.
obviously, but business scenarios,
well,
trying to
I
call.
want people to hear my conviction. Like when I'm speaking, I want them to hear my tone. I want them to hear my passion, especially when you're talking about a deal or negotiating or selling yourself.
Yep.
It's hard to do that through an email. It's just very bland and flatline,
Right.
But when the passion comes through your voice on a phone call, I think it resonates with the person on the other end a lot better. So my point is that building the car was time consuming, yes, but those Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, trying to negotiate deals with some brands that are on the West Coast, some that are on the East, some that are Central.
Yeah.
There was days I'd spend 8 hours on the phone. On the phone.
Fuck.
Working deals, trying to figure stuff out. And then, and then dealing with parts, trying to get parts. Parts are lost. You're ordering parts from here.
Yeah.
This part's out of stock. What we really need, like all that. And then all of it together. I just had to sacrifice my time that was allocated towards my media company. So basically, I took a huge pay cut in the beginning when I decided to go all in. Took a huge pay cut to pursue the program full time. That fucking all in moment was me calling 10 clients and being like, hey, I don't do work anymore. I don't take weddings anymore.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
Just
you can
don't know.
always hire somebody to do it. But I don't trust anybody. My name's attached to it. So if I hire some fucking, whoever to do a wedding for me and they forget to hit record during the ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
And now my name's attached to it. I just can't live with that. So I just opted to not do it. And instead, I found ways to make money within drifting to offset that loss. So if I've lost...
So smart.
If I lost $60,000 a year in clients or $70,000 a year in clients, that money needs to be made up within drifting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So now we know that it costs about that much to go drifting for the year, right? So that has to be covered off the top. Like $60,000 to go drifting for the year.
Yeah.
That has to be covered. I'm not paying that out of my own pocket.
Right.
And then I got to make up my cost that I've lost, or my money.
The excess cost that you gave up for
I'm getting
clients. Yeah. No, I got you.
Anyways, so that's why I'm doing smaller stuff like the FD. I do media for some of my friends in FD. Ryan Literal. We're doing Rad Dan stuff at Atlanta.
Nice.
Jeff Donati, good friend of mine. Austin Mata, good friend of mine. So just for my buddies, and I'm not charging an arm and a leg. I think it's reasonable. I guess in FD it would be expensive considering people do shit for like $100. But don't do that again. So it's just to go all in drifting. It is every day is 16 hours. for me. And that's not just drifting because it's
everything combined.
It's drift. Oh my God, so much. It's drifting, but then I go home and I have to edit the videos for the bank I do video, that I work for.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. But we know that hard work, it will pay off. Mm-hmm. It'll be okay. Your hard work, it just takes time.
Yeah.
And you have to not give up. I could have pivoted with the S14 back when I quit YouTube,
Yeah.
I probably could have pivoted and done something, but I felt like I was just at a wall. Like I couldn't move forward,
Yeah.
And so this time when I went all in, I had a better plan.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I feel that way nonstop where I feel like I'm at a fucking wall. Yeah. I don't know how, genuinely, I don't know how I've pushed through half the shit that I go through, but especially past few months, it's just been a ripple fucking effect of bad luck.
It'll test you.
Bad luck after bad luck after bad luck, and I'm just like, dude, pulling teeth, trying to figure out the next fucking step, nothing fucking works.
Well, there's that feeling of being defeated.
Keep pushing, you just have to.
You feel defeated.
Yeah.
And
I feel defeated every fucking day.
Dude, and that feeling sucks.
Yeah. It's been a shit show.
But that feeling, what we're talking about, of being defeated.
Yeah.
And not just throwing in the towel. It's hard to do sometimes. And it's expensive. But what are you going to do? How are you going to get this far and then let a truck burn down and ruin everything? You can't.
Yeah.
As I have fucking Walther Firearms sponsors my race car. Mm-hmm. Am I going to
give up, on top
dude?
Of all of it?
Zero chance that I'm going to give up. Zero fucking chance. There's no way. So you just roll the punches, keep trying.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing too. Same thing. You're trying to figure this out. You're trying to navigate a space as a late bloomer in the YouTube space.
Dude, tell me about it.
And it's going to be hard.
Wow. I guess not starting now. It's already up and running, but business and media, it's already flooded with other people doing the same thing.
It'll be hard.
Yeah,
you'll be broke for a long time.
Yeah, I will be broke the entire time, most likely.
Yeah, because
personally, I don't give a shit as long as I got money to pay my bills and live and eat and shit, I'm fine. But
we're the same way.
I want the business to just exceed past me in any means possible.
But and then scaling a business too costs money.
Yeah,
and that's I'm sure I've never taken on employees because I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
I don't trust anybody. And it's so stupid of me because it makes my life so difficult.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I'm trying to really figure out and learn is learning to delegate some tasks and stuff.
Well, you said you have an editor now, right?
I have an editor. I have an assistant that helps me with some comments and stuff like that.
You're rich, dude.
No. Let me ask you this then. So since we kind of were on the topic of careers and sponsorships and stuff like that most of the time, for anyone trying to just make a career in general in the sport, because for me, I bitch all the time about people saying FD as a career-based option, and I fucking hate that. It's so stupid. You'll spend years and years of your life never making anything just to barely make anything.
Yeah.
So
it'll burn you out fast.
In your opinion, from what you've seen, especially after trying multiple different avenues of making money and just all sorts of ways, what would your suggestion be to someone new, not necessarily new to the sport, but new to trying the opportunity of making a career
to go all
the
in
sport? Yeah.
To
go all in.
So
what avenue? Doesn't necessarily have to be media, doesn't have to be whatever.
I think that it's hard with FD because I'm such a huge fan of Formula Drift. I love Formula Drift. I like the staff of Formula Drift. I love the cars in Formula Drift. I like race cars, right? I like that. But I don't see the value for the brands in Formula Drift. So it's going to be hard if I don't see the value. And there's going to be a lot of brands that don't really see the value as much, for especially the bottom field, right? You qualify, which there's no more qualifying. So you do your seeding bracket, you lose, it's over. The weekend's over. You did 12 practice laps and one battle, and That's what the brand gets, right? Your partners.
Right.
It's just hard. And I'm not against Formula Drift at all. You know what I mean? I think it's really fucking cool. But I just know that if I go to Formula Drift with my current skill set, I'm not going to win.
Yeah.
So I don't want my partners to invest a ton of money into the bottom of the pack car when we could be doing thousands of laps all around the country at these huge events that have 5,000 to 15,000 people at them making fun videos, right? Mm-hmm. There's more value in that.
Yeah.
So if you're a new guy with no social media presence and you want to make a living in drifting, it's gonna probably not really happen unless you work within the industry and then piggyback off of that job to help fund your drifting, right? So for instance, Dawson has a podcast and his podcast is great. He also drifts. So with his podcast and the sponsorships he gets throughout the podcast, a byproduct of the media and the podcast is his race car. So when he talks to Njuku and says, hey, Njuku, let's work together. Let's, sponsor my podcast. I also have a 350Z, which your ISR parts work great with. And then he can start building his car or his program based on that and start growing the socials and blah, 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 blah. There's no real way to come from being a nobody and become monetarily efficient off of nothing. There's just no way. FD pays 10 grand a round. It costs 15 grand to do one. So if you win an FD round, you get 10, but it costs you 15 to go. You know, and there's people who do it for less, and there's people who do it for more.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It's tough. Like, it's not... There isn't a right or a wrong way. I guess that's the coolest thing about drifting, right? There is no formula. In NASCAR, there's a formula. You run through these smaller series, and hopefully you get a seat.
Yeah.
And now you have a salary. In drifting, it's such a freestyle sport, similar to BMX or skateboarding or whatever, that you can make your own path. You can do whatever you want, but it's up to you to figure out how to monetize it. There's no formula.
Yeah.
There isn't. And same with BMX. I was a pro BMX rider for like my entire childhood and in the better part of my 20s. And same thing. There's no path. You don't have to ride X Games to be a professional BMX rider.
Yeah.
What professional means, just so we're all clear, is if you get paid to do something, you are a professional. I see that in drifting all the time. I see, they're like, oh, he's not pro. Not me, but like just in general.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean he makes money? He's paid to drive his car.
Sounds like a pro to me, dog. I don't know about you.
Yeah. And so there is no clear path, which is good for everybody that's watching. If you wanted to make a living in drifting, figure it out.
Yeah.
My route was to make content for brands. I don't necessarily utilize myself for that content. I'm making content for brands that they can use without my name or face attached to it. It's just for them. It's original content for them to distribute and them to use wherever they want. And that way, if anything was to ever happen, and our partnership dissolved, that content is still good and usable without my name attached to it or my face. So mine's media, Dawson's is media. That's how we're finding our place in drifting, and yours might be something different. You could drive a rig for an FD team. You could be a mechanic. Some things don't pay very good. Some things pay better. Don't settle for pennies. Know your worth. Get paid. Don't charge $150 to film FD. Straight up.
Please don't do that.
Do not do that.
Oh, shit.
Do not charge $150 to film anything. I don't even care if it's with your phone.
Yeah.
Know your worth. Take care of yourself. Feed yourself.
Absolutely.
Build you a race car.
Well,
What was there?
that's some damn good advice.
What was the? I saw one on there. You were going to ask me about Njuku. If I was going to build a car, is that at the end? Okay,
That's at the end of every podcast.
I didn't know if you forgot it. I didn't know when it was.
No, you're good.
I've been preparing myself for it.
Most people don't, so that's great.
Oh yeah.
Actually, most people don't even ask for the notes.
Really?
They want to see it, yeah. Most people will actually be like, I don't want to see it. I just want to wing it.
I wanted to see if you were going to ask me some like controversial questions, dude.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
You actually
really,
give a shit. So
yeah, I do care. Yeah,
what's going out there? So
I think
that's
that.
why.
I think these.
Not calling anyone out or being mean to anyone or whatever, but this is how some people are.
Well, some people just don't take it as serious, especially people that probably know you.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. It's just like the people that are already there.
I think that the podcast thing is great for especially up and coming drivers because it allows viewers to get to know somebody and their character. Because that's how we like base who we like, right? Mm-hmm. Why does everybody like Chelsea?
Because he's a hell of a driver. He's got good image.
A good image. He's a prick.
Yeah, he's a prick.
That's what everybody loves.
In the right way.
Yeah, but that's what everybody loves. That's the best thing about Chelsea. Because whatever Chelsea says to you, it's he will never sugarcoat it.
Yeah, it's raw as fuck.
It's raw as fuck. And he's always been like that. Like from the beginning to now.
He needs his own podcast that's just...
He has one.
Raw drift talk.
Have you not seen it? What?
When the fuck did he start a podcast?
Dawson's never seen Chelsea's podcast? It's Chelsea and Pat Gooden.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen some of that.
Yeah, it's good.
I haven't like dabbled or watched a full episode for one.
You should watch it.
I can barely even watch a full episode of my stuff. So
yeah. But anyways, but that's like what I mean. We gravitate to people that we can relate to, whether it's the way they dress, the way their car's set up, or like for instance, I listen to like a lot of hardcore music. I'll post a clip with a hardcore song, and somebody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you used Trapped Under Ice," and that's like special to them. Like they can't believe it. What the fuck? You know, he knows about this little tiny band from the early 2000s that nobody knows. You know what I mean? That's cool. So this podcast gives that opportunity to a lot of people, and I think that's super important.
One thing that I've always tried, obviously doing the in-person stuff, but like it seems like a very timeless thing. So you know how like people will tell you stay away from like memes in your vlog content and stuff like that, because if you put memes in it, that kind of timestamps your video, and then 10 years down the road nobody's gonna give a shit to watch it.
I've never heard anybody say that, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So I always wanted to keep that a good focus when I started this. So every episode has kind of been correlated to where it's a timeless thing. Like this staple in this dude's career, it doesn't matter if he's 10 years later or whatever the fuck. Majority of that information is going to be relative to who he is, just in his own personal aspect going through all of this.
Yeah, and
there's always a good refer back type content.
Well, and that's like if somebody finds one of your drivers that you've interviewed 5 years from now and they haven't done another interview, most likely who they were in your podcast 5 years ago is going to be kind of the same individual.
In a sense, yeah.
Their personality and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not where they're at in life, but you can watch a podcast and go, I don't think I would get along with that guy. Or I think
Very
that
true.
dude seems so cool, I would love to kick it with him.
Yeah.
And that's how that happens to me all the time. I watch a ton of your podcasts, and I'm like, man, that dude seems so cool. I've never met him, or vice versa. Sometimes you watch it and you're like,
there's some of them that are a little.
You're just
even,
like, maybe.
I'll say it myself,
Maybe we wouldn't kick it. Cool information, but maybe we wouldn't hang out.
Yeah.
And that also would reflect on whose shit you're going to follow, whose shit you're going to watch. Because if it's somebody that you couldn't see yourself hanging out with in real life, you're probably not going to go subscribe to their YouTube channel or follow their life or buy their merch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say one thing about my fans. I don't have an Adam LZ following. I wasn't in that spotlight, even though I'm like an OG YouTube guy. But my fans, the people who are still here now, are loyal as fuck. Like, I got fans that if I was like, pull up to the Kroger parking lot, we're about to fight these guys, they would show up.
Yeah.
Like real diehard fans.
I don't think I have any of that.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
But my fans are, and I don't even want to call them.
I'm not saying I want that. Like, I'm begging for that.
No, but it's hard because it gets to a point where you almost don't want to call them fans.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's disrespectful to the people who followed me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're fans. I think they care. Like, a lot of them do. I had people like try to offer me money and shit when my truck burned down.
That's why when creators start calling their audience like mafia and like shit like that, it makes the audience feel like they're more involved than rather than just saying my audience or you guys or whatever the fuck.
A lot of times they'll call themselves that. Like we had, this is not anymore. This was obviously like years ago, but they would like comment. Quan was my last,
Yeah.
Quan. They'd comment Quan Gang. Like whenever a video would pop up, that'd be like first comment Quan Gang.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to roll with it. If they want to be the Quan Gang, I will give them that. And now here's a shirt you can have, or whatever. Yep. But what's up, like Jake Paulers?
Yeah.
I'm a Jake Pauler, dude.
Iraq was the Iraq Mafia or
what's that?
Shit like that. His name's Eric. You never seen him?
No.
On YouTube? He's
Iraq?
Iraq.
That's cool.
The only reason that name became a thing was because Eric was taken whenever he went to make the account. So it became Iraq.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a cool fucking name. And like the dude's fucking insane at creating content.
Mafia.
Yeah. He like grew up to, I think it was, he's probably at like 20 million subscribers now. But I mean, he grew 10 million subscribers within 2 years.
What does he do?
Just normal fucking vlog stuff. Like a
Casey
Mr.
Neistat?
Beast themed. No.
He's cool.
Yeah, like he does some crazy shit. Crazy content. It's more along the game style stuff that Mr. Beast does.
Mr. Beast
so
is
it's
cool.
down that.
Do you ever like go into
alley.
Walmart and you're like, is it going to be today? Like, is today the day when I'm at Walmart and Mr. Beast
Oh, yeah.
gives me $10,000?
That shit'll never fucking happen to me.
I'd be fixing the Feastables. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The chocolate bars. I'll fix them in the aisle because I saw one time somebody did that and he gave him $10,000. So,
You think he's gonna repeat the same thing though?
Maybe. I'm gonna go to North Carolina and just hang out
at Walmart.
That's where he lives. He lives in North Carolina somewhere.
Maybe one day he'll get invited to be on one of the videos.
I don't want to be on one. I just want to be like one of those like random people that he hits up. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I saw that
for a TikTok.
Yeah, I saw your truck is scratched. Here's a brand new 2024 Duramax.
Shit, mine just burned down.
Yeah, my Ford burned down, not my Duramax.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, also, Ford, help me out. Does Ford watch this?
Beats
Ford,
me.
give me a truck.
Let me know if you actually do.
Yeah, Chelsea didn't help me out at all. Called Chelsea's like, man, that sucks.
Sucks, dog. Hope you get through it. I don't know what to say. Bye.
That sounds exactly like something you'd say. Hey, yeah. I was going to say something, but I shouldn't.
You're good. On the Chelsea note, though, I was watching his video of the recent Appalachia event.
Yeah.
And when Ben Hobson came pulling into the gas station,
he's like, Bond's pissed.
He was like, Dad's pissed, bro.
Yeah.
That shit had me cracking up.
Did you see?
You can see Ben's face like, oh fuck.
And he had his girl with him too. Oh, Ben's a nice guy too. And there's you know what? In drifting, there's so many great people that don't have huge social presences. I'm not saying Ben's that person, but there's a lot of good people in drifting that don't have like a big social media presence or don't go to a lot of events.
Yeah.
That like a lot of people will just never know about. That are so sick.
Yeah.
Whether it's at driving or just being good people.
I could name probably 10 of them.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
I feel like everybody
you know
knows
what I mean?
like a few in their circle. You know, like they're like local. Like me and Travis grew up drifting together. We got our first drift cars around the same time. But there were some local kids that drifted around us at the time that was so fucking good. Like still good. You have no idea who he is. You know what I mean?
Damn. Yeah, that sucks.
Travis was trying to. It's this kid named Marcus actually, and Travis has always tried to get him to drive his pro car. He's like, "I'll let you drive it." Like,
no shit.
Yeah, like just drive. This dude would like go to pro spec and just wipe the floor. But yeah, he's so. I mean, he's not a kid anymore. He's old now, but yeah, he was.
That's what Jeff wants to do. Donati.
Yeah.
He wants to eventually just have it to where he's raking in the newest guy that doesn't.
Me and him, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Before your podcast, we talked about it.
I will be honest. That was to this date, that was probably my favorite podcast.
Yeah, Jeff is awesome.
A genius, and he's just really good at talking.
He's a nice dude. We talked about, because everybody asks, like, they're like, how did you do this?
Yeah.
And I can be like, oh, it was a phone call, you know?
Yeah.
But like, teaching people how to properly negotiate deals and not undercut themselves and build a program, there needs to be more knowledge out there. Like, the people who have it,
even the knowledge that's out there doesn't make that much sense.
No, and a lot of it's bad information. It's like gun shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch a gun video thinking you're learning how to shoot a gun, but you're really practicing irresponsible gun handling. You know, but just because it's on YouTube.
If I got to go figure out what size lug nut is on a specific car, I got to watch at least 3 videos just to make sure I'm getting the right fucking answer. Because that's just dipshits out there that don't care. They'll post whatever they want just for the views or whatever the fuck.
But yeah, Jeff's idea with that is something similar that I have, you know, because I did back out of drifting for almost half a decade, and I don't want to leave again.
Yeah.
Like, I love drifting. I love the community. I have so many great relationships with great people and great brands, and I want to see the brands grow just as much as I want to see the drivers grow, as much as I want to see the sport grow, you know, because that's all good for us.
Yeah.
It's positive for everybody. And so I'm all like, any driver, you know, that has questions about sponsors and stuff, like, I'll keep it real too. If I think that you don't have a chance, because you have 3 Instagram followers and your account's on private. You know, I'm gonna be real. Don't ask anybody yet. Wait. And that's the other thing. I'm a firm believer you have one shot at getting a deal. I think the first shot is the most important, and you may get lucky and something might pop up from that, but when you hit them up, make sure it's...
Yeah. That's something that I need to work on myself, is the what did you call it? Negotiation, but you know, just that aspect of it and underselling.
Oh yeah, not underselling yourself. And it sucks because you may be like, man, I'm just trying to get what I can get. I'm new. Yeah. I need anything. I need some bread. I'm hungry. You know, give me something.
Which I have money flowing. Like, I have clients and stuff, so it's not that bad whatsoever.
But at the same time, what you think you got money flowing, you talk to Chelsea, and Chelsea will tell you that you're a fucking idiot.
Real small, real quick.
Yeah, he'll tell you you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And he's done it to me. Pretty much everything I know about drifting is from Chelsea, by the way. He's a great friend with a ton of knowledge. But yeah, and that happens because you don't feel like you're there yet. Or you're like, man, I can't ask for that much. There's no way. But if I ask for this much, I'll get it.
Yeah.
And I've done it. Yeah. We've all done it.
For me, it's not always necessarily if I say this amount, I'll for sure get it. I always still try and stay true to my number. It's just getting the no and no and no and no so many times that it's like, okay, am I overpriced? And like, what the fuck is going on? Like, obviously the proof is there. I can do the job, but like,
it could just be
a lot of it has been my mistake of going to the wrong types of people.
Yeah, for sure.
And it could be with no money and shit like that.
It could be delivery
and stuff, and it's not the way to go.
You know, it could be delivery. I think stuff like this, you know, getting out of automotive and reaching out to some people outside of it works.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to brands within automotive, but
like that's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
That makes those. Like, so he's not... Yeah, you can touch him. You're good. Jake Sherbrooke, if you know who that is. If you've ever seen the Seaboys TV, you probably know who Jake is from back in the day. He used to be on the Seaboys, but now he does his own thing. I don't know. They're big off-road type guys, do crazy-ass builds and shit, but he started the BUMZ glasses and... Sick. Everyone does heat wave and shit like that. So
and that's what I mean. I think it's dope. I think it's super sick. I wish that I worked with more people outside of automotive, because what that does is it brings drifting to a whole new set of eyes. You know what I mean? When you're only working within automotive, you're catering to people who are already interested.
He's dabbling in drifting himself.
Oh, cool.
That's why he was really open to this too. So that helped.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you guys. I think that's sick.
Thank you. But all right, well, I guess what is your goal in a sense moving forward? I know we talked about everyone else's goals and what they should do. But
Yeah, my goals are to make it through this year. This year has been really hard on everybody.
Amen.
Yeah, this year's been hard on me, my family, and everybody. So to get through this year with a car that will hold together, to get seat time. I'm rusty. Been a couple years.
I'm right there with you, dog.
We're going to get back driving a lot. To continue to work with everybody who's on the car and grow our partnerships, grow our program, go up, not down, and just continue to do cool stuff, drive with great drivers, go to good events, and that's really it. There's no compete in this thing or do this championship. I just want to drive. I want to drive, I want to make videos, and I want to travel.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I definitely am trying to be on the same path.
Yeah, just doing the same thing, dude.
But, okay, so I guess we'll get into the last few questions. So with the knowledge you kind of have now, if you were to build, actually, this works perfect because you were talking about probably doing this. If you were to build a demo car replicated to this as just a seat time car, so that this obviously isn't going to the simple grassroots events.
Yeah.
What parts would you buy from Injuku to get that car to be its best seat time car possible?
How many parts do I get?
I'm not even going to give you a budget on this one.
Oh, okay.
But obviously,
so
you're keeping it simple for someone new or for less experience. You're just it's just a simple car. You know what I mean?
So 330 Ci BMW. First thing I'd do, I'd show up at Injuku with my car. I'd go to the back door. I'd find Ant. I'd beg him to weld my diff. Okay.
Yep.
Then I would go around to the front of Injuku after I dropped my car off to Ant in the back. I'd find Wes, and I would say, Wes, I need a bucket seat, a Prisma bucket seat, probably not a Halo seat for a seat time car, but just a good bucket seat. I need a handbrake and a steering wheel. And
some coilovers.
Some shocks. I would need some BC shocks. I would stay divorced coilovers. I would not
really
do
on these. Oh, okay, well, yeah.
Divorce shock from BC. I would run the BR series, and that's a good place to start. But if we're gonna keep going,
you can push the limit a little bit.
Okay, so we've got shocks, we've got a seat, we've got a handbrake, a steering wheel, and a welded diff. I would then get a fire extinguisher. Can never be too safe.
Should have added that one in the beginning.
Yeah, that should have started. And then probably some sort of small angle kit. When we did the School of Drift with Chelsea, we ran the mini SLR kits on those cars. Affordable.
Big FDF guy, so I'm always going to say the mini
big
Mantis.
SLR guy
Grab
here.
Mini Mantis.
We can
duke it out real quick.
Yeah. No. It works really good on this car. What else? I think that's really it. Some sort of small angle kit. And then seat, steering wheel, handbrake, shocks, welded diff. That's it. That's it.
It's crazy how simple it can be.
Yeah. Jackson, who's here earlier.
Yeah.
He's got that.
It's quite literally that. And dude, you said it earlier. He literally does fucking shred.
He shreds.
I have footage from the 245 comp at Riverside last year.
Yeah, when he went against Scotty?
Yeah, just fucking...
Hey, don't lie. You were a judge, huh?
I wasn't a judge.
You weren't? No. Jackson should have won, huh? Yeah! Yeah!
Scott's going to be mad at me about that.
Yeah, Scotty! Huh. Let's just get that on record real fast. Jackson should have beat Scotty at the Riverside 245 comp in 2023. Love you, Scotty.
Which one? Because one of the 245 comps actually fell through.
No, you know which one, funny. Motherfucker. Insert the clip.
No, yeah.
Insert the clip.
But no, he was at another one. Ryan, if you're watching, let me handle your media because you're bad at it. But Riverside.
Yeah, Ryan.
For real. He didn't announce that the comp was going to be on Sunday, and it was like a weekend-long event. It was a 245 comp, only to be held on Sunday. Saturday was
a fun day.
Free drifting, fun drifting.
Yeah.
Jackson was actually there. He could only come on Saturday, thought the comp was on Saturday, and then was like, fuck it. I guess I'm not driving in the comp.
Yeah.
Left Sunday. We come back on Sunday. I shit you not. The first hour that we were there was maybe 6 cars. After that first hour, gone. There was like 2 drift cars there.
Who won the comp?
By default, Scotty was the last one there. I don't even know if I can put this in the podcast, but Scotty was the last one at the track, and it was just like, I guess you won,
dude.
I was like, dude, I'm fucking doing that.
What did he get?
He got. That's how I got my ECU. Actually, Link ECU. He got. I think it was a $1,500 credit to Link ECU. And he gifted it to me to
What
give
a
me
nice
an
guy.
ECU. I was like, man,
Even
that's what's up.
That is nice.
Yeah. So technically, nobody won.
You won.
I won.
Yeah, actually, Dawson.
Just for working, but yeah. So
yes, the Jackson is proof that you can have a simple car and
fucking rips.
and rip.
Insert clip again.
Yeah. Yeah. Insert a clip of Jackson right here.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help him build his shit, like grow, because he's a good fucking driver and he's young,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
it's hard.
Is he doing social media stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. He's got like
Little bit.
4,000 followers.
Okay. On Instagram.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
What else you got?
Just keep pushing.
That's it. You just can't give up.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess let's get your best piece of advice for just anyone getting into drifting.
Make mistakes early in drifting.
Gladly.
You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Listen. Go to events and talk to people. Listen.
2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much
just
as you
listen.
speak.
And treat people good. Drive as much as you can. Here's a good one. If things get tough in life, you get fired, laid off, credit card bills due, truck breaks down, don't sell your drift car. Figure it out. Because things will get better. They always do. Things always get better. And then you're like, fuck, I sold my drift car.
Yeah. Even not even just the drift car, because you're more race car type. I'm more like street car style, all that stuff. I have an FC sitting in my driveway that's been there for 2 years and doesn't run. I don't know the first fucking problem that's wrong with it. Well, it's not getting spark. I did figure that out. But like even before I got it, it was sitting. It was a great deal, and it's one of my dream cars. I've contemplated selling it.
Don't do it.
Like 2 times. I actually went and posted it one time, but I was a dick and posted it for like $5,000. Nobody's gonna fucking touch it. And
yeah, but it's like you're not really wanting to sell it, but you would.
yeah, like if you're gonna give me the number, like I'll just go buy another one. That's super easy.
One that runs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can go find one for $5,000 that runs. But obviously, everyone just gave me shit. Nobody gave a fuck about it, and I kept it. And that was like my moment where I was like, all right, yeah, this car is mine for good. Like it's either gonna die in this spot or it's gonna get revived one day. And we'll be good.
There's a lot of advice for somebody just getting into drifting, and I would say listen, learn, try to take in as much as you can. With everything, there's a lot of bad information on the internet.
Keep it simple, stupid.
You can keep it simple. I know everybody says that, but like, I think that
there's a good level of complication.
Know your budget. Know your. It's tough, right?
Yeah.
Do whatever.
Everything's got calculated risk. It's just
do whatever
obviously
makes
keep
you
it as simple
happy.
As possible.
Do whatever makes you happy within your means. Don't have an ego. Treat people nice.
Especially in drifting.
Do not have an ego. Ooh, speaking of egos, you can leave this in the podcast.
Okay.
Fucking Nate Chen's podcast, dude. That shit is crazy. That shit is nuts. I've never even met the guy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Keep your ego fucking rope back. Egos won't get you anywhere in drifting.
Yeah. He's a cool dude in person, just talking to him. But I do see what people mean.
So for anybody just getting into drifting, do whatever you want, but don't have an ego. Listen, take in as much information as you can, even some of the bad stuff. Make mistakes. In the beginning, should keep it simple if you want to learn how to drive. When we talk about getting into drifting, there could be so many things. If you just want to be involved in drifting versus being a full-time driver, because there's so many great things you can do within drifting, and be around it, right? You can be a mechanic, you can do media stuff.
We just always go with the driving.
The driving, yeah.
That's what most people that are watching
and most people
like,
that are involved in drifting drive at some level, or have, or are trying to build a car. So, yeah.
The driving comes.
The driving comes. And I would almost say that the driving is the easiest part about getting into drifting.
Yeah.
Building the car.
Yeah.
Right? Learning how to set up a car. If you have a good setup car, and like if you'd come to the school of drift, we had dudes drifting the entire park track first day of drifting ever.
Damn.
Yeah, because the cars were set up properly.
Yeah.
And they, it was an arrive and drive thing. People who had never driven a stick before, drifting the track at the end of the day. How crazy is that?
That's wild.
So drifting is the actual driving on a base grassroots level is the easier part of getting into drifting. It's keeping your ego down, not burning yourself out of a community. This is a small community of good people, and if you're a jerk, you're not going to last long. So,
amen to that.
See how good my car looks right now in the sun, dog?
I know. His life's gleaming on
tell
it
the
now.
podcast you're going to drive this thing.
Oh, yeah. He's going to let me drive it down the road.
Yeah, so you can
actually,
feel...
you said that on the podcast. What
Did
are you
I?
talking about? Yeah.
Okay.
You said that. This has been a long podcast. What is that? This is almost... Holy shit.
3 hours.
Now, there's about a 15-minute break in there, but we're almost at 3. But, well, you kind of already answered the last question with the previous question, but I'll ask it anyways. If you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, like, what would your one message be?
Don't trust the government.
Nailed it. Shit. Son.
Fuck.
That's like perfect alignment.
That would be crazy.
Take that out.
Don't worry, I can stop the bleeding. You'll live.
I'll be all right. But, yeah.
That's it.
Is that it?
That's it. It's a wrap.
All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So you want to shout anybody out? Plug yourself, people?
You can find me on Instagram at Caleb Quanbeck, YouTube, Caleb Quanbeck. I don't post much. I want to give a huge shout out to all the partners on this car and this year to make it happen. I mean, literally couldn't have done it without them. And all the people have reached out with all of our misfortunes with the truck and stuff. And anybody who's bought merch or wants to buy merch, let me just go ahead and plug this right here. Yeah, I appreciate you all. And super grateful and happy to be involved and surrounded by drifting again. And this time for indefinitely. There will be no leaving this
I want to touch on something you just said too, with all the partners and stuff, how it wouldn't be possible without them. I know a lot of people say that shit, but I really hope that this podcast kind of opens the eye to the average viewer of what that actually means.
I can tell you.
Like, we just went over a fuckload of it, but that information's never really shared.
I will be transparent.
I really hope it helps a lot of you out there, because
it's helping me a lot. Though. Let me be transparent. When I say thank you to all these partners, it wouldn't be possible without them. That means that 80% of this car, the parts were supplied by these companies.
It would be on jack stands, no livery, no paint, no nothing.
The car would not be where it's at. So 80% of the parts in this car are supplied by these companies on good faith that we're going to represent their brand at the best level, the highest level. And the partners who monetarily sponsor this program, who give us money to get to these events. You know, a weekend of drifting, even on a grid life level, can be between $3,000 to $5,000 a weekend. So it's tough. And without them, it literally wouldn't be happening, period. Yep. So we're grateful. Hopefully this encourages you that, hey, it's doable. You know, you can. Yeah, absolutely. You can be a BMX kid riding the local skate park and one day have a $100,000 race car and go drifting. Yeah. It's doable. It's totally doable. It's
part of the life we live. You can do it too. So, hell yeah. Well, that's pretty much all we got for this one. So, I guess look below the video again. Make sure that subscribe button's not still red. And, of course, links to a majority of the parts we mentioned are on Injuku, and everything else would be in the description as well. But yeah, that's all we got. So, I will see you each and every Sunday for a brand new episode. Thanks. Peace.
Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. We in the bag of the band, shit like a sauna, she work.